everyone, and welcome to Roll For It. Veil Torn, our second episode. We hope that you have been just as excited as we are. We have been just chomping at the bits all week, and we can already see the chat's been crazy. I know Tyler was like, "Man, people are chatting today." I was like, "I know they're excited. We're excited." But before we get into the show, as per usual, we always have some little intros and bits and bobs that we need to cover, and of course. First and foremost, we would like to thank our sponsor, Roll20. Thank you, Roll20, so much. If you're ever curious about how we do our rolling with our dice or maps or anything of that sort, or handouts, that is how we do it, is through Roll20. So thank you, Roll20, for creating a platform where we can play together. And also, it doesn't have to just be dice games. It can be board games. It can be card games. There's all different types of ways. So if you are looking for a virtual way to play with friends, this is fantastic. So, and of course, if you're getting a little cold, I know over here in the Callies, we've got we literally got snow in San Diego. Like some people got
Yeah.
snow, the crazy. But we do have some merch. So if you want to keep cozy or make yourself a hot cocoa, designedbyhumans.com/roll for it is where you can get some cool merch. And we may have some merch for Veil Torn coming soon. So stay tuned. And of course, we would like to thank our supporter today, Finley Shards. Thank you, Finley, so much for supporting us. You've been a
Finley
long-time supporter.
Shards.
We really adore you, and I always enjoy DMing for you for our Legend tier games. And if you would like to become a supporter like Finley, you can head on over to our Patreon, where you can get access to a lot of cool rewards. But also, if you are Legend tier or above, you get to support an episode as well as play in a privately GM'd game. Right now, I think Trooper is DMing, but for the next couple months, we'll have Kai Bear doing some DMing. And it may affect our world that we're in, that you guys are seeing us playing. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm excited to see what happens. But of course, we have tons of other goodies over there in a whole slew of different reward tier groups. We will have the stats of the Bone Devil Mafia and Chuck's estate coming soon to our Patreon. So definitely keep an eye out for that coming up next week. And of course, we're going to be doing our first live monthly recap. This is a new thing. If you've been paying attention to our revamp that we did for Patreon, this is a new one that we're going to be doing. So we normally used to do our news recaps as just a video that Bentham and I would do. And now we're going to do it live through Patreon. So we are going to be recording that on Tuesday, February 28th at 7:30 a.m. Pacific. So if you want to watch that live and you're a patron of any tier, oh no, wait, this is hero tier and above. Hero tier and above, you can watch live and ask us questions and chat with us while we're doing our newsletter recap. And of course, there's other ways to support us, like watching here live on Twitch. If you become a subscriber here, you get access to the VODs immediately right after, as well as access to our awesome emotes. Hopefully, you'll be having a lot of fun with the emotes here. And of course, if you become a YouTube member over on our YouTube channel, you can get access to some of those emotes as well. And whether you're a YouTube member, Twitch subscriber, or a Patreon supporter, you can get access to our private Discord, where that is where we've seen a lot of chatter today, which has been really exciting and fun. And of course, you can always ask us other things in there. We know that not everyone can support us in a monetary way. Take care of you and your family first and foremost. We think that's very important. Don't put yourself out too far. But if you can support us, we appreciate it. But there's lots of free ways to support us, like watching us live here on Twitch, clipping. Please clip. We love whenever you use our clips. And we can only do those when we're live, which is the weirdest thing ever. But so if you are watching us live and you would like to support us in a little extra bonus way, please make clips for us. We use those for social and things of that sort. So it definitely helps us out. You've probably seen some of our fun montages or our little social clips that we use. And we always grab them from you guys. So thank you. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube, subscribe, like, and comment, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Like, share, retweet, and comment. We have some tweets already out there. We have some Facebook posts already out there. So definitely go check those out and share some love. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Kai Bear, because you probably are sick of hearing me talk.
Never.
Believe me, everyone was like, I could just listen to Kai talk forever. I was like, oh, perfect.
It is true.
Thank you.
They want you to read them like nighttime stories and stuff.
I have done that from time to time on Twitch for the community. That's been a fun thing.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to do like people intros, or are we just going right into it?
That normally, we only did it for the first episode because we had some new faces and it's been a bit, but we always do those at the end.
Well, there you go. Okay, so we are going to come back into this as we started last time. Cameras panning down from the sky. We're coming through the clouds onto the neon lit up sign of the delicious sunrise. This time, standing on top of a car in the parking lot, there's this thug, long brown coat with an arm stuck up in the air with bones shot out of the arm, a little bit of electricity coursing through it, hand pointed at the windows. His bones are flying from his fingertips, launching through the windows, crashing, destroying the diner. You see another man with this long, bone-jagged tail coming out of the small of his back, whipping into this large earth elemental. You see a man bashing another thug with the side of a door and driving the car over another thug. You see this kitsune woman running inside to make sure that a friend of hers is protected. You see a child protecting their parent in the back, just covering them as bone shards fly over their head. Then in the middle of all of it, a man stands up, slams his staff to the ground as all of them rise into the air and then get thrown into the ground with such force that all of them are killed. And at the end of that combat, we come to the eerie stillness of delicious sunrise. And Cade saying, okay, I might have to change my plans. Is everyone okay?
Mom, are you okay? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. And Chi-Chi is okay as well. Thank you.
What happened?
I don't know. I've never seen those men before. What's going on? Did you do something?
I didn't. I don't think I did. I didn't do anything. I don't know who those people were. Cade, who are they?
Do any of us recognize who those people were? Would like we have known?
Chuck, let's see. Give me gonna be I'm trying to think of what would be an intelligence for a recall, or what about we go society? Give me a society roll. See if you remember them from your interactions in society.
I rolled a natural one.
Game today.
I'm gonna say with that, bud, you have no clue.
Starting off with a natty one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the rest of us just don't know. He'd be the only one who maybe would. I think Kyoko just says, well, I don't know who they are, but that's what that must have meant.
What do you mean? That's what must have meant.
I was brought here to help you, I think.
With this? Is more coming then?
I'm not certain. Sometimes it's little things. But with you, it seems much stronger.
Okay.
See, when you say that, Cade kind of turns and kind of squints his eyes for a second, looks you up and down. Okay, kind of nods and leaps over the table outside to where the bodies of these thugs are at.
I think Mentala is kneeling down, looking at the one that was in front of him, and is going to start investigating, trying to search for anything interesting in the pockets. And then over his shoulder say, So more of that fate. I gotta get into the voice. More of that fate.
This is certainly a mystery to me.
Chuck steps out of the car. Cade, what'd you bring me into?
I do apologize, my friend, but it appears that even I don't know. This is the first instance that I've seen people like this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this.
Where everything that I can tell from this, it seems like some sort of mob hit. Which, if such is the case, everyone needs to get in the car now. And I mean everyone.
Give me some time. And he starts kneeling down next to Mintala. If you want to roll me that perception check to investigate the body.
Right.
Cade's there helping you, so I'm going to say you get... What is help? Help gives you an additional 2, I believe, dependent on the help action. Okay.
Oh. Well, if it's a +2, that's 26. I rolled a 16.
That's really good. So as you're going through, you're opening up their pockets. You find 10 gold on the one that's in front of you. You find a pocket watch. And in his suit pocket, on a pocket watch in there, on the back of it is this ornate carving of these infernal symbols. And that's about it.
I imagine this is in some ways clumsy, in some ways delicate how he's searching, because he's got massive hands, and so I imagine it's like carefully pinches like the coat with like the big chunky hand, and then like with a glass shard finger like just slices the coat pocket so that the contents fall out and he can get to them.
Perfect.
And just
And
that kind of action, and then is gonna hold up this, was it watch?
Yeah, it's a pocket watch.
And show it to
Cade.
Cade. Took me a second.
No worries. So Cade looks at it and takes the pocket watch in both hands. Gonna roll a quick Arcana check. So why not? He could fail. He doesn't. I haven't seen this in a long time. And he kind of looks back at Azuka, takes a deep breath. Chuck, that might be a good idea. Your place?
I think it's best I only know where we're going.
Okay.
Now, I can't leave the shop like this.
You will, or else more will come and more problems will happen.
Azuka, I will take care of everything here, and I'll meet you wherever Chuck is taking you. So it'll be fine. I can take care of things here. Maybe it's the best idea for you to get away from things.
I looked to my mum.
It's okay. I'm a little shooken up, but I'm fine.
Oh, they're coming too.
I have to stay here to make sure that the people are okay, that Greggles, and she runs to the back. Out of sight of you guys.
Well, I don't know y'all very well, but I could stay and help.
Zoo. Everyone needs to
Don't
come.
call me that.
Azuka?
That's fine. Yes.
All right.
Zoo? No.
Okay. This will be interesting. And you see as Cade's just kind of muttering to himself as he's walking to each individual, and he gets to the one with the jaw. He kind of bends down. Interesting. He's kind of touching it, holding it. Each of these seem to be a part of the same devil. You have the 2 arms, the legs, and the head. I guess in the torso as well. Huh. You see him just like in his own head. And Azuka has seen this a couple of times when he's running through a theory and he's just kind of muttering and running it and processing.
Did you say a devil?
Yes, an Ozolith, a bone devil, to be precise. You can see that you have the same structure of bone. If you look at these two arms, they are perfectly identical. And if you look at the way the spikes are made out of the tail, this is interesting. They didn't
Four
seem...
people made out of one devil.
Yeah, you're as confused as I am.
Well, that means perhaps someone was sent them then. They came from somewhere.
That's true. Truck might be right here. It might be time to leave.
Hey,
Agreed.
Azuka.
how is Gregors?
You run into the back and you see two bone shards sticking out of his shoulder, and one of his arms just won't. It's kind of like glitching. It keeps raising and dropping. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about me, boy. I'll be fine." This is nothing old Gregos can handle. As he grabs one and just rips it out, and his arm goes. It's like, I can fix that. Don't worry. Don't worry. It'll be fine. Big man.
Okay, as long as you're alive. I guess I'm going to that Chuck guy's place. Can you hold down the fort while we're gone?
Well, I'm not staying here. I'm going to be grabbing your mothers and we're going to be leaving. I'll take them back to my place. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's honestly, I would prefer that. Honestly, thank you, Gregors.
Do not worry. So you walk back out into the main lobby of the diner. Everyone's just kind of looking around. Kate
Azuka's
actually goes
probably
and...
trying to like help pick up some things if she can, whatever.
Yeah,
she
there's
can
like shattered glass. Some of the pictures that were on the walls have been falling off. This place looks torn up.
Yeah. Okay.
You see Kate outside just rips out one of the bone spikes that was in the wall, just looking at it. And it's like, this is interesting.
I am, I suppose, ready to go wherever you're taking us.
Chuck's just leaned against the car waiting for everybody.
So
Yeah.
Azuka, as you're walking outside, you go past one of the bodies of these thugs, and you see this little red electricity just shoot between the bones. Something about it really
Okay.
catches your eye.
Cade.
Yes.
The bones are doing something.
What? And as you get close enough to it, zips up and shoots you. And all of a sudden, everything goes white. And you realize that the pavement in front of you is now white, and the diner is white. All the tile is white. You see a little bit of, like you're in a negative space, almost. What do you do? No one's around.
What's happened? Mom? Ma?
And you hear from inside the diner. I hurt myself today to see if I still feel.
You're cutting out for us. I don't know if that's intended.
Maybe it might just be whenever I use the Go XLR, but I'll just do it myself. I hurt myself today to see if I still feel.
Do I recognize this voice?
You've never heard this voice in your life.
Who is that?
The song stops. Looks up. And you see inside the diner, there's a dark figure at the piano that seems to have this like amorphous visage. It's almost changing, but staying the same structure. Now be damned. Zuzu.
Why is everyone trying to make that a thing? That's not my name. Who are you?
Oh. You don't know me. I've been with you your entire life. Come on inside.
Where am I?
So you're standing outside of the delicious sunrise in this white space, and inside is a perfectly same build as the delicious sunrise, just in a total negative space.
I kind of, before I step in, I look back out into the street as if hoping to see anyone else.
So as you look out into the street and look off into the distance, you realize that you have about 20, 30 feet before everything starts to fade into nothingness. And way far off in the distance, you swear you see these flashes of memories. Your mother's when you were a child, riding your first bike, the issue with Cain. You see yourself being taught magic. You see all these memories. They're yours.
And seeing that, I would turn back towards the diner and step in, closing the door behind me.
Okay. Now this is fascinating. This is new. Azuka. And he sits down. It's a pleasure to finally talk to you. What brings you
Wish I could
here?
say it's the same. What brings me here? I don't know. I thought you knew.
No. I've been trying to talk to you for years.
Who are you? Where am I?
Well, I'm you. Well, the added parts. Whatever they did to us, it bound us body and soul, so, for all intents and purposes, I guess that works.
Are you? And I look down at my hand,
Hmm?
my arm. What does it look like?
You look like it's your normal arm before the transformation. Your old flesh and blood. No tail, no monster arm. No shifting of skin along the neck.
You're. What was happening to me? What do you mean, body and soul?
Oh, you don't know. Interesting. Okay. Well, you see those guys out there. And as you look, the mist comes in and apparates the bodies of the thugs out into the street. Those guys, they're kind of like you, but failed second prototypes. They're trying to recreate something that they did or didn't even know they did. That's pretty easy to tell. Oh, come on, you didn't pick up on that? That's
No.
okay. You're young. Maybe in time.
So why did they come after me?
Why did they come to you? I have no clue. That's something that's on them.
Okay. Okay, I have a lot of questions then.
I'm
First
sure
of all,
you
who
do.
are you? You still haven't. Apparently, you know my name enough to call me Zuzu. Don't do that again, please.
Oh, Zuzu. You're
No.
a little mad. Are ya? I'm getting under your skin. You see, I can watch everything you do. And as he turns and waves his hand, the menu boards in the diner shift to the outside, shift to what you see. As I can watch everything you do. And as you flex, the windows turn to screens and he has a full view of whatever your eyes see. And you hear out really slowly. Oh, and you look and you see Cade is outside, like reaching like for you as you look down and see the bit of electricity still almost time slowed, arcing to your finger.
So you've been watching me since what? I was
Oh,
young?
since you were born. There's barely been a day where I wasn't a part of you, Zuzu.
Who are you?
Oh, now that's spoilers. How about... let's come up with a name, something you and I. I'm the change to you. I alter you. In your mathematics, that is represented by the delta, the triangle. I can go with Delta. Or Fred. Hound. How about Daniel? Does that work? I like Delta. Delta works. I like being the change. Next question.
What do you want with me? Why did you bring me here?
Want with you? I just want to see you grow. I want to see you get powerful. I can help you with that too. If you'd let me.
No, I'm fine. I don't even know you gave me a fake name.
Well,
I'm not going to
I wouldn't
try
say
and-
that this existence denotes the previous names. I am in fact different, because as much as I've changed you, you've changed me. If we're now bound, body and soul as it were, we're an entirely new thing. The Azuka that was born, and the Azuka that is now. Can you call them the same person? I mean, look at you. We are becoming something entirely new. And doesn't that fascinate you? A new branch of human evolution. Now this is fun.
I don't know if fun is the word I would use to describe this.
Oh, you're not having fun? Oh, come on, Pinocchio. Live a little. Got all these strings on you.
Before
Knock 'em
the
off.
change, what
Yeah,
was your name?
spoilers. I can't give you all the answers without getting something in return.
What do you want in return?
I'd like to talk more, if you're okay with that. I want to be able to talk to you. Freely. It's been 23 years since I've been able to talk to somebody, and let me tell you, I do enjoy it. Used to be all I did. It's actually what I was built for. So let me whisper in your ear from time to time, and I can help this power inside of you blossom. What do you say?
I think as they mentioned this power, I think one of the windows flicker to show a memory, and I think it's of his mums, of Nala and Chi-Chi. And he catches a glimpse of it before looking to Delta and just says, will I be able to use the power to protect my parents?
Oh, yes. Your parents, your friends, everyone you hold dear is safer if you are stronger, right?
Okay, fine.
Well then, let the strings bind. And as you say yes, these little tethers come down from the ceiling, and you see them wrap around your arm and wrap around the other arm. And they bind tight, hold in, and sink into your skin as you now have these strings coming out of your forearms. Then I'll see you next time. And as things start to fade, you just hear, I had strings, but now I see. The strings are not on me. As the world starts to fade out, as you get launched into the white space, into the mist, into your memories, you get a couple flashes, then you're launched back into your body as the electricity, and it's quick as that, half a second. Kate's like, yeah, Azuka?
Mm. Yeah. No, I just saw weird energy sparking from the bones.
What do you mean?
I figured.
Did it have any interesting properties? Did it arc multiple times? Did it make a symbol? Did it seem to resonate?
I don't think it made a symbol. It looked black, kind of not like normal electricity. I don't know. It seemed weird, so I thought I'd bring it up to you.
No, that's good. That's good. Let me hold on to some of these. And you see he pulls out like a rib cage. He undoes the jaw of the jaw thug, rips it off, puts it into a bag, goes and cuts off the tail, like the tip of the tail, puts that in. I'll have to take a look at these. Yeah. Are you guys good? Chuck.
Yeah. The only thing interesting about this is how long you're taking. If you don't understand that these guys were merely just puppets being ordered around by somebody else, you're really disconnected from how things work.
Chuck, let me point you to the side here. And he comes, grabs your shoulder and leads you off. I'm going to stay here and deal with some of the wounded, if that's okay. Where are you going? I can meet you there.
Warehouse.
You got it. So, Cade walks over back into the diner, and you guys are left alone outside.
So if you guys don't want to wait around for another group to show up and check on the work that's been done, I'd recommend we get in the car.
Where's Chiyoko?
Inside, she's like trying to help fix whatever has been destroyed inside the diner.
One more second. I'm gonna pop in and I'm just gonna grab Cade for a second.
When you're inside helping move things, Kyoko, you take a piece of glass, move it off of the floor, and as you see the hole that it went through, you see Chi-Chi impaled through the heart, pinned to a wall, flash into your brain. A fate that was averted. You look over the side, you see Chuck, bone scattered up his chest, pinned to the seat. Fate that was averted. And you're noticing all the things that would have been had you not intervened. But because you were there, the domino effect had shifted so much. You know, that question again of like, why is it so different because I'm here?
Yeah, I think Kyoko's thinking about these things and also wondering, was she supposed to change the fate of these things? Because in some cases it has been a good thing and in others not.
As you're cleaning, there's a little bit of blood on one of the tables. As you wipe that away, you look up and in the street, you see this figure with demonic arms, full tail, horns, energy encasing the body, these teeth. You see this as it turns and these fangs are staring at you with these lit up blue eyes. And it stares at you for half a second and then it's gone. As if you'd just seen another potential fate.
Maybe it was a devil. she says, like, lightly under her breath. And Bentham, you said you were doing something?
I walk back into the diner. I think actually I address Joko and say, You said you saw this coming?
Well,
I don't mean to interrupt, but Chuck did have a good idea of getting all of you out of here for now. We will probably want to be away in case they send another group looking to make sure that this was done right. So, maybe this is a conversation for the car. I'm going to be taking them to safety, and I'll meet you where Chuck is taking you.
I point to Joko. I think you should come with us.
Definitely.
You seem to think you have some connection here. And if there's more things coming, I'd like someone who can see them coming.
doesn't quite work like you might think. But I'll join y'all. And she...
Hey, Dirtball, make sure the foxy lady comes along.
Kyoko just kind of looks back around the building one last time and then follows Mintala.
Let's go. Sounds like you've got Cade's approval. Works for me.
I don't see the future like you're thinking I do. It's a little bit more distorted sometimes.
Fate's a tricky thing.
It very much
Okay.
is.
So as you guys leave the diner, walk to Chuck leaning against his car. You have the Duesenberg, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you know, the nice car.
The nice one. Y'all file in. It is surprisingly strong enough to hold Mintala. You go in and it barely shifts, and as you go in, you're like, this car's been reinforced. I'll leave it to you, Chuck.
You all settled in the back.
Mm-hmm.
He shuts the doors and says, I'll catch you later, Cade. And he hops in the front seat, puts ignition. He opens the little slot in the back and says, might be a little bumpy at first. There is one of them underneath this thing. And he takes off.
You guys have the definite boom, 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 squish, like, as you're leaving. So you drive through the city, maybe 10, 20 minutes away. It's the feeling of having such an adrenaline-filled event, especially for Azuka, somebody who has never dealt with this level of conflict, this closeness to death. That adrenaline leaves your body. You almost have that state of like rumination on the event. So I don't know how Azuka would be affected by this or what their mentality would be in this moment. And as that adrenaline starts to leave, as you guys are driving towards the warehouse, really calms out.
I think Azuka was very jittery, very bouncy. He was definitely like his leg was bouncing up and down, occasionally looking out as if to try and see if they can see their mums from out here. Of course, the diner's long out of view, but eventually, yeah, the adrenaline leaves and fades, and it's kind of like a intense tiredness probably washes over him. I think the most adrenaline he's felt is usually like through sparring with Nala, or occasionally whenever he's allowed to sparring with other fighters, usually other people who aren't human because they can withstand his punches. But now this is a whole other level, and he's kind of just leaned forward, looking, just staring down at the floor of the car.
With that
Just
last bit of
concentrating on
anxiety
breathing.
fading, thought of your mothers, their safety, you look back at the diner as you're driving away, and you see both of them and Gregel's getting into Cade's car with him and driving off as the other patrons who were there, seemingly unharmed, start to walk away. So now you know, diner's evacuated, parents are safe, they're with Cade. They're okay. It does calm me down a little bit.
I want to make a point that Chuck is driving to make sure that nobody's tracking them and following them before he heads to the location.
So taking double rights, alleyways, going around the back routes, it's harder for even the people in the car to understand exactly where they're going unless they're paying attention on the outside or they have innate knowledge of the city. Mintala probably gathers this. About 5-10 additional minutes goes by as you enter into this industrial area of Los Angeles. A lot of these warehouses that have since been abandoned, ivy growing up half the size, some roofs have caved in. Some are up and fully functioning manufacturing plants. Some are storage warehouses for other businesses that come through. As you pull up to one, there's a bunch of lumber and stone on the outside with this old faded lettering above the big double doors into the warehouse. As you pull up, Chuck gets out, opens up the door, drives the car in, and Chuck, you're now at your warehouse, safe house.
All right, now before we get out of the car, there's some ground rules. 1, no lying. If I find out you're deceiving me, well, that's a problem. Number 2, this is my property. It may not look like much. Don't mess with it. Don't touch anything. And lastly, well, get out of my car.
I will lumber out.
So, as you guys get out, you see chains with hooks on the ceiling. You see these large pallets of just literally wooden pallets. In the far side, you'll see some that has some stone, but all of it seems almost ornamental. You look, the dust hasn't touched any of this stuff in years. Like, none of the stuff has been touched in years. Dust to settle. That's the way I wanted to say that. There's a section on the far side that seems to almost be this ramp downwards that Chuck would lead to your actual underground safe house within the warehouse. You do see a couple of sets of mechanics tools here and there, spare parts for a car, an entire radiator. Off to the side, you see catalytic converters pulled out. I'm using every term that I know for a car to indicate that there's just pieces of strewn about things. I'm not a car guy. I can't give you more details than this.
There's a drive over area where you can easily walk and stand full upright underneath a car. So if I pulled the car over, there's just like an incline that's like real narrow for one person to walk down. There's a toolbox in each kind of corner, each looking a little bit different. And there's a lift. Looks rusted, looks old, looks like it wouldn't even work.
As you're walking to the front of your car, you actually notice, because you ran over a bone person with this, there's pieces of embedded bone in the grill with like little drips of blood on it.
I got work to do. If you guys would kindly head down, there's a little bit of an underground door down below. Azuka, walk with me. Mintala, if you could go ahead and head down there. There's nothing for you to worry about, but you can touch the door and enter.
Mintala nods and shuffles over and probably sidles sideways down this little pathway.
By the way, if any of you need to use the facilities, it's up there. And he kind of points to the little loft, like metal area where a bunch of office equipment and a desk would sit.
Mm.
It's behind the desk.
So it's next to the old fake area where the old business was done. You just never thought to put a bathroom in the underground area So now
There's
it's just
one there.
Oh,
It's just he's telling him
that's
to
your
use that
personal
one.
That's your personal. Nobody touches that bathroom. That bathroom is mine. All right, that is my
Only
sanctuary.
his farts can exist on that chair.
Exactly. Love that.
I kind of like give Kyoko a look because honestly, she's the only real person he knows at this moment. Cade's gone, and Kyoko is at the very least a regular that he sees at the Delicious Sunrise, and just gives them a look just to gauge if they have any feeling. They're like, do I trust this guy?
Yeah, when you do
Kind of
that, you
look.
notice that Kyoko's already looking at you, and because she's just been kind of observing you the whole entire drive, which maybe you didn't notice at first, or maybe you don't even notice when you're looking, but as you make eye contact, she's already looking at you.
Are you like feeling anything about? And I like as subtly as I can point at Chuck. Like,
Kyoko looks around. Does she have any feelings?
As you go to close the car door behind you, you close it, and almost over your hand, you see this almost illusionary imprint of Chuck's hand. And as you sit there, the image of him walks forward. You see he's clutching an arm, goes over to a table, slumps against it, rips the sleeve off, starts sewing up a wound. Then you look over the side and you see another illusion of him walking across the top, head in his hands, thinking intensely. You see him over at a workbench, working on some, you hear the of some ratchet as he's in another position underneath a car. You see him walking up and down this ramp as you see all of these bits and pieces of the times that Chuck had used this place. You see him cursing off in the distance. You see him crying. You see him angry. You see him content. You see all of these little bits. None of them to you seem like the going-ons of an evil person. And you kind of understand that this has been a base for him for something for a while.
Kyoko will just look to Azuka and say, I think you're going to be just fine. Go on now.
okay. Yeah. Okay. And I will walk over to Chuck. I think the whole time I've had like my arms crossed and slouched. I'm like trying to make myself as small as possible. But yeah, I walk over to Chuck. Yeah, what do you need from me?
Well, I told you I'd teach you how to take apart and put back together an engine. Well, that kind of starts now. I need your help pulling these bones out of the front of my car.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
Any idea why a group of people, potentially organized by another group of people, would be attacking your parents' diner?
No. The closest to enemies we've ever had, and I would like pull out another bone shard from the grill, is back when my mum used to kickbox, and those are very much friendly rivalries, not show up at your diner and shoot you with bones rivalries.
You're not paying anybody for protection, are you?
No. Honestly, for the most part, my parents have kind of liked it. If we needed protection, people would give it freely, but we haven't needed it.
As you say that, you hear a whisper behind you. Oh, then what do you think Cade has been all these years?
I think this is the first time this happened, right? So yeah, I think there's I'm about to say something else and I stop mid-sentence as that happens.
You remembering something? Somebody who offered free protection that potentially would want something in return.
You probably don't want to tell him everything. You never know how he's going to react.
No, there's no one I can think of. People have done us favors. Honestly, even with on being a pretty good kickboxer, it was pretty hard to pay for repairs and maintenance of stuff going on at Delicious Sunrise. But some kind folks who worked as plumbers or mechanics just came in and freely offered maintenance. But again, they don't seem like the people who would have connections to Bone shooting people. No, I can't think of anyone.
What about Kyoko? What do you know about them?
They're a frequent goer of the Delicious Sunrise. They're one of the regulars. I see them almost every day.
You think they'd be somebody involved in something to do with like a mob group of some kind?
She has been watching you. If you haven't been paying attention, I have.
I don't know. They're regular, and that's honestly as far as we ever really got when it came to knowing each other. I know what they always order and the type of coffee they like.
Black and 2 sugars. How boring. Come on.
Seems like you know them pretty well. You can tell a lot about a person by their frequent orders.
Well, their coffee and black with 2 sugars. I'm not one for bitter things, but I guess just 2 sugars balances that out. I usually have a lot more with some creamer as well. Well, until recently, I found out they were a fan of the French toast, so that might become a new usual for them if the Delicious Sunrise becomes a safe place to go to. And I kind of like gesture broadly out towards the door we entered. I don't know what you can tell about someone from that, though.
Well, what I can tell already is you care about your family a lot. And, you got lucky today. Can't promise there
Yes.
won't be a day that, your parents won't be gone, but it seems your actions today made that delayed. And for that, I'm a little bit of envy. Regardless, thanks for your help. We can head down and join the other 2 now. I'll have to clean this up later.
Yeah. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. I'll be honest, I was just excited to meet friends of Cade's. I didn't know he had any.
Yeah, he calls us friends, that's for sure.
And I will begin to head down to the underground warehouse.
You know what's really funny? I thought this place was already dusty, and here you see Mentala's tracks all along the ground.
Speaking of which, Mintala and Kyoko, as you go down into the basement space, you do see a little bit of footprints of like the concrete dust that are behind you. Not entirely earth, but there's definitely a little bit of a thicker layer every time you take a step. You go to open the door, clicks open, goes in, and you see this large like lounge space with one of the biggest TVs you've ever seen, like a solid 40-inch TV. That is really cool. On the sides, you see a couple of desks with typewriters. You see a big ol' board with red lines going. You see stacks of information. You see police sketches of different mobsters as you're going in. And otherwise, this looks like a very nice lounge. A little bit of a medical got up in the corner where you see a little drain next to a what looks like a pseudo operating table, or maybe he has like sat down in to stitch himself up. A little shower off in the corner, a lovely studio-esque lounge.
Nice place, I suppose. A little dusty.
This room
He
isn't
knows his
dusty.
stuff.
This room isn't as dusty as the outside, but it is dusty.
That hasn't been used in a while, but definitely was used more frequently than the warehouse it exists within.
I'm assuming you know these other fellows.
Barely more than you do.
Then how did you come to be?
Cade. He wanted my help. Protecting Azuka.
She
Not
was-
exactly from bone gangsters.
She looks at you quizzically when you say that. Then what from?
Him getting himself into trouble. Whatever that trouble could be.
Well, I've been watching him. And he doesn't seem like he's one to get into trouble.
I only know what Cade told me. He needed someone to keep an eye on him.
Well, maybe Cade knows something more than you know. Did you ever ask what you're protecting him from?
I didn't get the straightest of answers, but I trust Cade to have his reasons.
Not the straightest of answers? Then what kind of answer did you get?
About what I gave you. He might get himself into trouble. Not sure how, not sure what.
Interesting. What about yourself? You find yourself in trouble often? And I think Kyoko's going to be kind of examining Mintala. See if she gets a vibe from him or anything of that sort. And if you'd like me to use one of my abilities, I can do.
What ability would you use?
I think the one that would make the most sense is read aura. I feel like that's what she does often.
So let's see. Focus
a
on a target,
cantrip.
open your mind up to perceive magical auras. When the casting is complete, you know whether the item is magical. So you definitely get a very innate magical aura surrounding Mintala. Almost like these veins of arcane runes stretch out, similar to a nervous system, throughout the entirety of his form, all leading to the glowing heart in his center. And you see this little arcane pulse of energy come out from there.
And as you're answering her, she is kind of like looking at you, and her eye is drawn to the center of your chest as you finish your sentence. I don't know how you respond to her when she asks that.
Can I tell that she's using any abilities?
If you would
assume
like
so.
to make me a perception check with Arcana, because that's a thing we know we can do now.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm learning. So yeah, go ahead and make a perception check through Arcana to see if you notice
It does
any
require
magical
me to
effect.
do somatic / verbal, so he might know that I'm casting a spell.
Would you try to hide it? Because we could do like a sleight of hand.
Ooh, I'm not very good at it, but sure.
Sure, we can attempt that. We could do a competitive roll between
Yeah.
players.
I like
Good
it.
old-fashioned roll-off?
I
Yeah.
like it. So what would you like me to roll? Like stealth? Arcana?
Stealth.
I don't know.
Stealth, I think, would be the best way to do this because normally it's like a dex sleight of hand. You're trying to hide a somatic form.
I'm not very good at this, so you're probably going to do well. Ooh, 13.
All right.
Oh,
10.
I totally flubbed
Maybe
it. I got a 2 on the
not.
dice.
You don't
You got a
notice
12
a
on the
thing.
dice. Damn, yeah.
You
I
just
miss
kind of
it.
get this odd feeling of like, she's looking at me, but like really looking at me. Normally when you have a conversation, you
Yeah.
look at somebody's eyes, but
Yeah,
This is a
like, so I
little,
can't tell that there's any like magic going on, but it's like she's really examining.
yeah, yeah.
I've been known to get into trouble from time to time.
It's not a look you're unused to. A lot of people have that intense look at you
Yeah,
because
a lot
of
of people are
who
like,
and
what is
you
going
are.
on with this? What is, yeah, so
Exactly.
it's like it's pretty normal.
You just see another person trying to figure you out.
Seems odd to have somebody who finds themselves in trouble watching somebody else. Unless there's something else about you.
So far, I've got out of all the trouble I got into.
Well, I think a lot of us did when the tear happened. I'm assuming you come from the same space as I did.
As you ask that question, Azuka, that's when you make your way down.
Actually, I wasn't there. Came along after.
Interesting. So you chose this path.
In a sense.
She grins at that and... Well, I think I chose my path as well.
I suppose you have a good idea of where your paths are.
Oddly, I know the paths of others, but not of my own.
As you say
Suppose-
that, you guys hear Azuka walking through into the lounge.
It is just as dusty here. Isn't he rich? Doesn't he feel like a butler or something?
And Kyoko kind of takes her attention away from your, like, the chest area that she was paying attention to, and looks to Azuka. As she, like, says the word path. Almost.
As you do so, there's like the littlest bit of the reed aura that is still there. And you see the same aura that you had seen before, but now almost tracing the wraps that are on Azuka's arms, there's these little filaments of light that wrap around, shoot up into the sky about a foot, and then dissipate into the smallest little glimmer as these strings kind of are wrapped around. And as it fades, it disappears.
Did I interrupt something? I'm sorry, I could like go to the corner or something.
No,
No
you're
problem.
alright.
Okay. I think Chuck is on his way. I'll look behind me to see.
What were the two of you doing?
He'll
Who's
walk in at
question-
that moment and he'll say, "Clean out the grill."
Yeah. And he asked me a few questions. I answered them, and yeah.
You came here to have us wait for you to clean your grill.
Who said I was cleaning the grill by myself? Azuka here was helping me. Man can't multitask.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to help cleaning, I'd just scratch it up more.
Yeah, despite the fact that I haven't been in this place for a solid, I don't know, like 10 years, somehow you made it dustier, and that's a surprise to me.
Seems like you spent a lot of time here before.
You do notice as you were walking into it, the door handle now has like 3 scratches on it along the outside that you definitely knew were not there before.
Mental, are you gonna replace my doorknob?
I could pay to replace your doorknob.
Yeah, if you touch another one, it'd probably get scratched the same.
I'm gonna look
Doorknobs
at
are meant to
the-
be opened.
I'm gonna look at the wall of like string and pictures. I'm just like, do I recognize anyone on it? Just, you know, have any of my dealings been more illicit than I thought?
Ooh, roll me a society check.
Nice.
Oh, not
What,
great on the
another
rolls
10?
today. That's a 3 on the dice for 10.
2 and a 3. All right, can we reset your dice somehow? I feel like
Oh, and
We're getting the bad ones
Tyler
out of
got
the
a
way.
natty
We're sa-
one. We're
we're
just
saving
not
the
doing
good
that
ones
today.
I rolled a natty 1 to start. Come on.
Hey, I'd rather it be now versus in combat.
True.
Yeah.
when
was
could that be
original.
happening? Anyway, with that, you do. The only thing you notice
Is that they have code names.
they have code names.
And I think while he's
That
looking-
actually
Oh, yeah,
is
I
a
know.
good
Oh,
question.
it is.
How active has Chuck been since the tear? It's a good question for you.
Active in what way?
In that way,
Oh, since the tear? I mean, decently active. The pictures would have changed. They're they're less about what they were in the past and more about trying to figure out the cause of the tear in some degree.
Okay.
But there's still
So-
remnants of the old work off to the on the bulletin board. Just it's been like restrung and things have been adjusted.
So you see pictures of different locations around the world. You see a photo of the Grand Canyon with water. You see a photo of Washington, D.C. evacuated. You see photos of Air Force bases in flames. You see a photo of Japan with an active volcano in a place underneath that is almost scribbled throat of fire. And all these other different indications of events around the world. Stapled just directly on top of like old mobster sketches, maps of Los Angeles. Like it is just like, all right, this is what we're doing now. Not
I
much.
think Mentala's intrigued by this, just like staring at these pictures of like historical events and major ships. Like this is
Pre you.
newish stuff, perhaps to him.
Yeah.
I
A lot
think
of this
while-
stuff was before you came about. And a lot of people just have kind of moved on and accepted it is what it is. No new as society fell, people started focusing more and more on survival, staying safe, getting cities safe, understanding the new world rather than trying to figure out what happened.
I would say one thing in the center of everything is unharmed why with a big question mark.
Well,
Is it pointing to certain things?
Everything kind of is connected to it in some way or another, but
Okay.
it's kind of like that's the focus point of what I'm trying to work on, or was.
I guess while Mentala is looking at that stuff, my focus is directed more at Chuck now. And I think Kyoko just says, "What about you?"
Well, my name's Charles Spadina.
Well, I think we all know that.
Yeah, it was a lot easier for me to talk to Azuka because he had some idea of who I was already. But since this is a place of honesty, I can't ask of you what I want to offer myself. This is my safe house. I've been known to help the authorities in many a ways with regard to helping solve crimes, and in recent times had my own projects at hand with regard to some history I have, as well as, well, trying to figure out what in the heck caused this tear, this rift, and the effects therein. I've since settled with that idea and retired to my own devices. Getting a little bit lazier. He kind of pats his belly a little bit. Anyway, I own and created ammo, manufactured weapons for the World War, and well, that's why I am where I am. Any other questions? Directed info you want to ask? Maybe about the board that I know you've probably been looking at since you walked down here?
Funnily enough, because everybody here kind of came about after the tear, nobody would really remember the massive success of the armament of the modern man's ordnance that is ammo that came about from his deal with the United States to do all of the funding for the ammunition for both world wars, and made him quite a pretty penny and gave him a great setup when the world went to heck. So,
I wasn't looking. You told me not to touch anything. I respect that.
Touching
Also,
doesn't mean
when
not
I touch
looking.
things, sometimes I see things maybe I don't want to see.
You've been through some kind of trauma?
Haven't we all?
So, that being said, I have to ask you all one question. I've already asked Azuka, since it was the location of the hit. Any of you involved with any sort of mafia, mob, or criminal organization?
Not directly. I mean, people come and go from my shop. I don't ask where they come from.
I don't always operate above board, but not far below the board. Nothing organized, really.
Well, there has to be a reason behind the hit. Anybody recall the events? Any particular target they seem to be focused on? I know Cade went down. Do you think Cade's at the center of this? I think all of you know him except for maybe you, Kyoko.
Seems like maybe the focus might be Azuka.
That's what Cade seemed to suggest. Though maybe he was 50-50 or more, and trying to make us feel better, I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't come across or worked or dealt with anyone like that before. I assumed Cade had collected all of you to look after me and keep me from getting into trouble, not from trouble getting to me.
Well, that's the funny thing about Cade. He'll look to Mintala. What did he tell us when he told us we were meeting Azuka? And why we were meeting Azuka?
Well, that, I think he said that Azuka might get himself in trouble, but he was very vague about it. He seemed to not know what exactly might happen, just that something might.
The other thing that he added to that with regards to me is he told me to bring the nice car. That car you rode in is reinforced in numerous ways. For one, Mintala, it could hold you. Unlike my elevator, really. You probably have to get maintenance to check that out when you're at the penthouse the other day. Or earlier today, sorry. Adrenaline. But it's bulletproof. That's why those bone spikes didn't penetrate into the engine and cause any actual damage, Azuka.
Wait, okay. So Cade didn't tell you my whole situation?
Your situation.
What is your whole situation?
For a while now, if
Do you
triggered,
trust
I'd
them?
go into
Do you really trust them?
I go into a blind rage. I have ways to calm down or not get triggered at all, and I think I pull out a pen, like a clicking pen, and just go. I kind of fidget with this when I can feel it coming, and it usually helps. But there are occasions when I can't. I don't catch it in time, and I freak out and kind of destroy anything and anyone around me.
You get to be free.
So
Now I see
assume
why he
that's
wanted the
why.
rock monster.
Yeah. And why he probably wanted the nice car.
And I think I've figured out why. Maybe fate has put us together. Perhaps I can help keep you calm.
I wouldn't be against it. I've been doing better recently. Taking up kickboxing has been really helpful. My mum, Nala, she used to be a kickboxer. She spars with me sometimes still, trains me, and it's a good way to get out the frustration. And Cade has been helping me get control of the magic that kind of happens when I get that kind of angry. And the magic that just happens when I'm just fine.
And you've been getting much better at controlling it, as the voice rings out as Cade walks into the lounge.
Thank you.
I was surprised, actually, that there wasn't an incident, the adrenaline of having to protect your parents. Must have been hard for you.
I was close. I'll be entirely honest. ended it so soon, I don't know what I would have done, frankly.
He just walks over, puts a hand on your shoulder, and looks you in the eyes. She says, "I am proud of you. You did well."
There would have been a lot more bone spikes in my car. That's what would have happened.
Kyoko
I'm just happy you brought the nice one.
looks like she's kind of staring past you all and is almost revisiting the vision she had of some kind of crazy devil creature in the, what is that, parking lot? Is that what she
Yeah.
saw? And she kind of looks back at Azuka's hands. And
You see a very striking similarity between Azuka's altered hand and the devil that you saw in the parking lot.
but she doesn't
Honestly,
say anything. She keeps it to herself.
Kyoko, I turned to Kyoko and go, honestly, you were honestly a big help there as well. Knowing someone had my parents' back helped a lot, so thank you. Coffee is on me next time, I guess. I don't know how to repay you.
I think any kind person would. No way to repay me. No need to repay me.
Yeah. But yeah, Cade, Chuck, either of you, do you have any idea of what that was? What was going on? It feels like all of you know this town better than I do. What goes around, what happens here better than I do.
I was hoping to not have to ever tell you about this. When you were born, there was a string of cults that was popping up around Los Angeles. Mobsters that were losing power to the capabilities of monsters and magic. They wanted ways of keeping up. And humans do, as humans do. They wandered into territory they knew nothing about, found books of occult spells and magics. They tried to bind the power of devils to themselves to get the devil magic, get some sort of way to increase their power. As they realized that guns and brutish tactics in this world didn't really cut it anymore. Normally, and Chuck would actually remember this, right after the terror, there was a big influx of people attempting new types of magic, new mutations of creatures, wizards tempted to try certain things. And you remember for about a 1.5 year period, there was a time where just monsters would randomly appear in downtown areas, basements, warehouses, and it was all failed attempts from cultists to bind the soul of something into something else. At the end of all of that, one of the cultists had a child, and he looks right at Azuka. And this time, when they did their ceremony, nothing happened. They assumed, as I can assume, they thought it was a failure. So they left you at the
Wait,
firehouse.
you're telling me somebody did this to their own child?
People go to extraordinary measures for power. Do terrible things. Maybe it was a mother.
Aren't that different from ours?
It might even come from a place of fear. A mother seeing the opportunity for their child to have a chance to survive in this world. They're so afraid of the outside. If I had a child here, I would do anything to make sure, to assure that they survived.
Well, dealing with devils is never a good idea. No amount of power is worth it.
So, the same symbology that I noticed on the writings for the cults back then is the same infernal script that you see on the back of that pocket watch, Mentala. So, I can only assume either another sect of this cult has arisen or somebody else has found a book. But I took care of them once with the help of the SWAT team. And I will do it again. And I do apologize. I think they were targeting me as I was the one who targeted them back in the day. So either they see that anybody of magical capability in the town is considered a threat to them. They probably came after me. A surprise attack, hopefully.
Then we
To get me out
probably
of the
need to
way.
know what happened the first time.
It was like rooting out rats. You go, you take care of a sect, another one pops up, one person gets away, convinces other people. Hardest thing about cultists, they look like everybody else. So we did what we could. Eventually they just stopped. I assumed I had found the last tome, last piece of scripture, but apparently I missed. And I'm sorry for that. Seems my carelessness has put you into danger, and you, most of all, Azuka.
I think the whole time, the moment he explained about the devil, a devil, being a part of Azuka, I think the entire time you can hear like the clicking of the pen. Kind of like,
Just getting. So as everything else kind of dulls, the sound's muted out, you just hear the click, 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 click. The voices of, I'm sorry, like as it muffles out, is you start having this almost like panic scenario, and you just hear the, and that's how we came to be. Isn't it just serendipitous?
and I dropped the pen and walk up to Cade, very clearly angry, and I just jam my finger in his chest and go, "You knew that there was something, like every time I'm like pushing him
He
further back
lied to
and further
you.
and further. You lied to me. You didn't tell me.
He
I
hid
thought that was
this
my
from
fault. What I
you.
did to my mom. You didn't even tell me that there was something in me." Like again, prodding and pushing him further and further back.
He was scared to
Mentala
tell you the
takes a-
truth.
Mentala takes a couple steps forward to be close behind Azuka.
Zuka, make me a will save.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
nice. I was like gonna say Kyoko will probably put her hand on
And that
Azuka
one.
to
Nat
calm
one.
him down.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Nat one. Oof.
I'm gonna need you to go to level 2
Level 2. Oh,
and
no.
go ahead and explain what that is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm.
Nat
oh,
one,
boy.
man. Nat one.
Yeah, that is fair. Where is it? There it is. So this is a mixture of homebrew and a actual Pathfinder 2E feat. Dedication actually, I think it is.
Yeah.
But I think we changed the name to Draw Upon Anger.
Mhm.
So the trigger deals damage, or I guess just I'm triggered. This
Yeah.
triggers the emotion anger, and depending on what level of anger I pick, I get some bonuses. But if I fail my will save, I attack any and all creatures around me, as if they were hostile towards me, going for the closest first.
So do you want to describe the physical changes?
Yes. So I think this one's not as bad. You see, you definitely hear like the crack of bones and spine as he grows a little bit. The claw on his, I believe it's his left hand, they grow a bit longer. You can see the scales that enter just about the elbow region goes a bit further past underneath his clothing. His tail, I think, gets a bit longer. You can see the beginnings of spikes appearing along their edge. And the eyes, both eyes glow a deep red, and it seems to even a mist seems to come off of the eyes. There's also a deep red, almost like the physical manifestation of the anger that is boiling within him.
And you can even see where the parts of the change happen on the neck. Out of it seems to grow these like infernal runes that are tracing along the border of any like transmutation that's happening to you.
If I see this escalating, can I do something? I would like to use temporal distortion.
Okay. As that happens, I want Azuka to make me an attack roll against Kate.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I'd go all out with it as well. So I'm going to.
And I say that, Kyoko, because there's an action, not a reaction. If there's a reaction, I could say you can get ahead of it, but it's something you have to
For
do.
sure. Yeah.
Cool.
That sounds fine.
You see, he suddenly starts speaking in a deep, gruff voice, and it's in infernal as he casts Horizon Thundersphere. But I think Cade will know this, but maybe other people who aren't spellcasters or aren't spellcasters would notice that this magic doesn't seem to manifest in physical space. You see their fists glow a deep, deep red, like almost red and black, as he charges forward to punch.
What is the element of that attack?
I believe. Let me
Is
check.
it sonic, electric?
Electric. Yeah.
So as the fist starts to glow, you see this channel of
Is it red electricity?
what color is it? What would you
I
like
think
it
it
to
would
be?
be red. I think it'd be like black and red. I think it's like really dark black in the center, but then when you see the edges of it, it's like a fuzzy red around the edges of the electricity.
So the main arc is this black energy, but then as the forks come out, and it almost seems to have this red outline as it goes.
And I think it's gonna be a punch. It's gonna go with a punch. Does 11 hits? That wasn't a great roll.
It was not, and unfortunately, it does not. Well, fortunately.
Yeah. So I rolled 2 on the die plus 9.
Man, our rolls today.
Right.
Yeah, they're not great.
And as you do that, I need you to make a will save DC 19 for temporal distortion. Would you like to explain that, Kyoko, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I think what you see happening is like Kyoko's like moving her hand almost like a clock and kind of trying to pull Azuka back in time, basically like revert back to where they were before.
So you see the tails behind you kind of spread into a semicircular pattern as this little energy between them, there's this like red line or this energy line that's going, and then it stops. And as your tails shift, it's like a clock hand reversing.
Well, we'll see
And
if
I also,
I can revert it or not.
We'll see.
and I think if you don't mind me taking like momentary GM powers, I think the original miss was very much Cade knows how Azuka fights. Like they literally watched them infuse their fists with magic to do strikes like this. And I think this was probably even sloppier because this is not fully Azuka right now anyway.
First time it's
but
red.
Yeah, definitely the first time it's red. 14,
So-
I fail.
So you fail. So you have a basic failure. The creature is either clumsy 1, enfeebled 1, or stupefied 1 for 4 rounds, depending on the result of a D4.
Okay,
Let's see what the
roll a
D4 says.
2.
So a 2. On a 2, it becomes enfeebled. Beautiful. Enfeebled, if I remember correctly, gets you a specific type of... You're physically weakened. Enfeebled always includes a value. When you're enfeebled, you take a status penalty equal to the condition value to strength-based rolls and DCs, including strength-based melee attacks. So if you're enfeebled 1... Yeah.
It's a -1.
-1 to all strength checks for the next 4 rounds.
So it's
We're just gonna
attack rolls, damage rolls, athletic checks,
Everything.
etc.
If you want to envision that, Kyoko, as like a slowing, a reversal, like as you're going to do a thing, you're fighting that pullback in time, maybe. It's how you ever you want to describe it.
Yeah, because it basically says you share some of your own temporal distortion with a foe, altering their mind and body unpredictably as they're thrown backwards or forwards in time. And I would like to throw him backwards in time. So he ends up like back where he was before he went into the shift to level 2 or whatever.
There is a moment, Azuka, as you're going to punch, that you are thrown out of your body and you're standing back where you were before you changed. Your mind is clear and you are seeing yourself launching this attack at Cade, somebody you've trusted for years. And you look over at Kyoko and she's looking at you, not where you are now, where you're seeing everything. And she has this kind of looking at you as you are perceiving this backwards space and time. And then you're back again, you're moving, you're attacking, and you miss. And Cade will speak some words, go to grab your arm. Let's see. Cade's... Did not think Cade would get into a fight today. We get to
I
my...
didn't think I'd fight Cade today.
Gonna be honest. It was a something I did not foresee. But I love it. Yeah, he's definitely able to hit. So he, as you miss, he grabs your arm that's like back, speaks a few arcane words, and the binds activate, and you are immediately stunned. And you poof, fall to the floor. As this energy dissipates, gets funneled down your arms into the wraps, and then almost radiates out as this energy. As the transformation reverts back to what it was. Oh,
I think
we
y'all
have
need
not-
to calm down.
we have not had to do that in a while. The fatigue and exhaustion sets in as you recover from the stun. And you're on the ground, and Kay just goes and sits on a box next to you. It's okay. It happens. This is a very stressful day.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Chuck's gonna walk over. And I'm gonna roll an unarmed attack to punch Cade in the face.
Go for it. Does Roll20 like us? I just have to ask at this
don't
point.
know.
Like,
I
has
rolled a
somebody
5. My attack is a 10 total.
And the
Okay.
damage, if it had landed, would have been
Was a
one.
1. Yeah.
He just sees it coming, and as you go to hit, it goes as like this space starts to get harder to move through, and then he just boom. He's like, "Look, I understand that you're angry.
You son of a bitch.
What?
You
do
didn't
notice,
tell me.
Azuka, when the binds activate, that voice that was almost there is just gone.
You didn't tell me a goddamn thing. You didn't tell him a goddamn thing.
I couldn't have known that this was going to happen.
You're telling me that a cultist mob is at root of this, and the people that I should have had here aren't even here? The
I'm
ones
sorry
who
that I don't
caused
know
this to their son?
everything that happens in this city. I thought that they were gone and dealt with. I gathered you to watch over Azuka as I left on my trip. It just so happened to be bad timing.
And it just so happened to be something where essential information to be able to watch over somebody like this was completely and utterly left out.
I was going to tell you after you all had met with Azuka there. It is not my secret to share.
Well, it
But it's
seems like
theirs,
they
and I
don't
will
even
respect their privacy.
know. When it comes to safety, privacy doesn't matter.
It does
At
to
all.
me. And them. And I'm sorry that you feel this way. I'm sorry you feel betrayed or lied to. I really didn't know it was going to happen, Chuck. I didn't.
He walks out, and you hear. After a minute, you start hearing tools going to work on the car.
Cool.
Kyoko will go over
You
to
okay?
Azuka. Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead,
I
man.
say to Cade, you were going to tell us everything at the
I
diner
was.
or after?
I was going to talk with Azuka after and see if they were comfortable discussing everything.
There's like a suspicious look. It's like giant rocky arms folded and like.
Do you want to make a perception deception check to see if that's something that...
Let's give that a go.
13.
Was a 5 on the dice for 13. I don't think it's. Maybe I'm pressing the wrong button. It's still just doing perception. That would have been a 14 for what difference that makes.
What stat does perception in Pathfinder? Should be wisdom, right?
Wisdom, yeah.
Okay.
I will
Also
say,
that.
I think there's, I don't know if it's here, but there should be an ability called Sense Motive.
Mm-hmm.
And I
That
think
is Pathfinder
does percep-
1.
It's also Pathfinder 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
It's still
think
just
it's
a
a
perception
stat
check.
we have to add it in.
Yeah, it's
but,
like a.
Yeah.
It's the counter
it's
to
not-
perception.
It's not
Okay.
on the.
Right.
There's a lot of skills that are
Okay.
not on the default sheet that you have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If you mark into them, you have to.
Sense Motive
okay.
is still just a perception check, so it's not anything different, but
Yeah.
Okay.
that is, yeah.
It's called a
always
different
thought-
thing to be under the same umbrella as another action kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, sense motive would be great.
Is that just perception, deception?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with a 13, he looks wholeheartedly like he is telling the truth to you.
And
Never
Kate
known
will-
Cade to lie.
18.
Yeah, I think until it relaxes a little bit again.
And
It's
while
like
that's
he's
happening,
accepted the line.
Kyoko will go over to Azuka and be like, "Are you all right?"
I haven't got like that in a couple of years now.
I wouldn't normally do that to somebody, but just didn't want
Oh.
you to hurt anyone.
No, I appreciate it, honestly. I assumed Kate had told you what happens to me, so I at the very least was fully aware that you were going to be, well, not you, but they were going to be making sure that doesn't happen to me. So I was fine. I am fine with anything you need to do to stop that. I'm sorry, and I say this to everyone. I'm sorry you didn't know. I'm sorry you had to see that. Yeah, I guess I have a devil inside me.
I feel like everybody has a devil inside them. Yours just happens to be literal.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you a smile. It's like, what? For somebody who literally has a devil inside them, you're doing good. One slip up here or there does not mean that all the successes you've had along the way are null and void. Remember that. You can always pick up from where you are and keep going.
Yeah. I
You
guess
have
that
nothing
explains.
to apologize about. You didn't choose this.
Kate really looks at Kyoko when she says that. It's just like, yeah.
The only story I knew was that Mum's found me at the firehouse, the one that's not so too far from the delicious sunrise. And that's as far as the story I know. They found me there and raised me after that.
I'm sorry.
So they thought the ritual failed and they just abandoned them.
Normally, whenever there was a success, there was some form of physical manifestation. The bones in the thugs that we saw, massive, overgrown body parts. It's very dependent on the devil that they attempted to summon. Usually, it was one demon, one body, but I don't know how they were able to split this one. Maybe by splitting it, it's a more manageable effect on the body. The vessel doesn't have to take the full force. It's interesting, but also, I can't imagine any devil that would willingly do that.
What do
They're
I-
learning.
Oh, sorry.
And
What do I
Azuka
know
hears
about-
in the back of their head, because none would do that.
I don't say anything.
What would I have known about, like, devils in general? Is that something like a religion or occultism or something like that I could roll?
Yeah, if you want to roll occultism, that'd be perfect.
19.
19. So, old world deals with devils are fairly commonplace. Representation of that in the family line would be a tiefling or some sort of devilish influence throughout their heritage. Devils preyed on those who were not as intelligent to be able to trick them into stronger deals like full possessions. I'll give you everything now as long as you give me a child. And so they'll make deals for souls to get power. But a lot of it was just that, deals. Sometimes there was a devil excursion that took out a village here or there. Demons were really the biggest threat, those that did not follow any lawful structure. Wherein, just as a pseudo thing, where in D&D, demons are from the abyss, devils are from hell. It's really muddled in Pathfinder, where devils are just chaotic evil, or demons are chaotic evil, while devils are lawful. So if there was anything of just monsters and demons rampaging through a village, it's just chaos. But these types of devils are all about structure and order that allows them to have this thing.
Are there ways out of those deals or to unbind yourself to a devil?
All deals have fine print. A good lawyer can be a great thing with a devil. It depends on the ritual that was used. This was a deal between other people that you can assume. So we don't know the deal. We just know that a ritual took place. But normally, there are ways.
Okay. I think with that knowledge, Kyoko just says, I think that we need to figure out what kind of deal your parents made. Because when it comes to devils, it's about what the fine print says.
Well, good luck finding them. Apparently those parents are long gone. My parents, the one I consider my parents, they did search for any news of a missing kid when they found me, but heard nothing.
My assumption was that the parents were cultists. And when we went after them, they were taken care of. At least, that's the only thing I can think of.
Well, there are ways to speak to the dead.
True. Very true.
Not always pretty.
and definitely not something I am versed in.
Nor I.
Well, dang, I was actually kind of really hoping you were. With the whole getup, I'd assume there's some kind of like spiritual connection there, but
Perhaps.
okay.
From time to time, there are.
I'm gonna go talk to Chuck, but
I'd start with an
I
apology.
am sorry.
I don't think he likes lying.
Yeah. I do not recognize what I did as a lie, but I do recognize that it was an omission.
Omission is just a form of lying.
See, but do we have to get so black and white as he's like walking out? It's like there's a little bit of gray, right? And as he leaves the door. So walks upstairs to Chuck. Just working on the car.
Yep.
Just retightening bolts because honestly, there was not much damage, if any, from the bones. They just kind of got lodged in weird ways as when you hit, it hit, broke, and kind of like got wedged between the paneling of the grill. Hey, I am sorry that I did not give you every bit of information up front.
Cade, I took the guns apart and put the hat away.
And I had hoped that they could stay that way. But I might need to ask one more thing of you.
You're telling me to draw lines on a board again, connect the dots, and find a solution.
No. I'm asking you to leave that to me. And I think the best thing for Azuka is for them to be as far away from here as possible. The emerald that I was going to be getting in New York. Could you take Azuka to go and fetch that for me? I think if I tackle this quickly, we can stop a spread of occultism through the city. And I trust you in your capacity to keep him safe throughout the travels.
I got one thing to ask then.
Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff works, but it seems like the two people that you brought do. Well, one that we happened by.
You're right. Kyoko's ability to affect Azuka is something that I was not expecting, but it is a wonderful surprise. And with Mintala's understanding of magic and nature, I feel like between the two of them, they can quell any uprisings of emotion. But to get them there and to travel, to know the world, you've been around the country. You know this place, even though it was before the tear, you do have the most knowledge of somebody that I know. So what do you say?
You owe me.
I do. I really do, friend. I promise I'll pay it back in kind. We'll figure something out.
You know, payment isn't. I've gotten plenty of that in my life.
Favor for a favor. I know we don't work in gold, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah. At least this time it's not blood money.
Hopefully nobody has to get hurt along the way. It will be dangerous. You are leaving the walls and going to be dealing with the normal dangers of the wilderness out there.
You act like I haven't before.
I know, but it'll be a first for Azuka. And I hope that you can guide them through this. I can give you my itinerary, my plans. Make sure everything goes smoothly.
I guess road tires are not going to be worthy of this butte anymore. All right. Well, you got to ask them if they're willing to sacrifice what they have here to come along.
Would you come down there with me?
You act like I'm going anywhere else. I got to go to the penthouse after this, and I'd rather them come with me and know my past.
My thought
At
is we
least-
give you the night. Leave early morning.
Sounds fitting.
All right.
I'm coming.
All right.
I just got to
So we-
put this just right back, and it'll just
The car's
ratchet
in
back
fine
into place.
condition, Chuck. I don't like you're adjusting nothing. You're just retightening and loosening the same bolt. You've been doing it for the last 3 minutes.
I switched out a part.
It looks exactly the same to me, but I'm not a car person.
It's a stress reliever. You know that.
Yeah. All right. So they start walking downstairs again. Come back into the lounge. Is there anything you guys would like to have talked about in that time?
I think Montana might have just like, as a bookend to that, to the previous conversation, say, "You can speak to the dead. Doesn't mean they'll tell you the truth."
And that's also true as well.
Do you have experience? And I think Ozzy's like sat on the ground, cross-legged. I think he's grabbed the pen again by this point and put it back in his pocket. And he's just looking up at Mintala.
Not personally. I look over to Kyoko.
I mean, there have been moments where the dead have spoken to me through visions or strange, well, readings, but not really. That's not necessarily my forte, but doesn't mean I can't try.
Might be
Don't
fun.
worry. We'll help you.
I just don't want to. Whatever's going on with me, I'm fine with dealing with it. I can figure it out. I just don't want my parents to get caught up in it. My non-cultist parents. I don't know how to talk about them without it seeming like I'm talking about the cultists.
I think we understand.
As Cade enters the room, your mothers did a fine job. And the people who bore you were not great people. I'm happy that you had I'm happy that you had the mothers that you did to become the outstanding person that I know today. So, I've come to a decision, and I hope that you can follow with that, if that's okay, if you trust me still. As Chuck follows in behind Kate as he walks down.
I don't know you, and I don't trust you.
That's fair.
And apparently,
You don't have to trust
lying
him.
to your companions, I don't know if they should trust you either.
I was not immediately as upfront as I should have been. But I stand by my actions and the consequences. So I do apologize for any feelings of mistrust.
Well, the good news on that front, Kyoko, is you don't have to worry about Cade watching your back. He's not coming with us.
Well, I wasn't
If-
worried about that to begin with.
So, Azuka, I was telling you about the emerald in New York that I needed to go and fetch.
Yeah.
Due to the current circumstances of Los Angeles and the cultists that threaten it, I think it would be best if you went to get it.
New York?
It's going to be dangerous, but I trust that you have the capability to do it. with Chuck and Mintala, and actually Kyoko, would you be able to go with
I
them?
actually would prefer if you came, if you could.
You
No
seem to
offense
have-
to you two. I know you better. I turn back to Kyoko.
Familiar face might be nice.
Well, you don't know me either, but I have been looking for something new. I'll just need a moment to close up my shop.
Take the night, please. I'll get some things together. And I'm assuming you need time to pack or get ready for what you need. Gather equipment. I'll make sure that any supplies, food, and such like that is provided. And, Chuck, if you like, I could take a look at your car, maybe add a few things.
If you like,
I
you'll
have
have to come
Okay.
by.
many
my place.
questions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Emerald?
Oh, yes. I study the planes. I studied planar geometry after the tear. I am very curious in how it all came to be, and I was getting close to an answer. What I could never understand, this one unique property that only made sense when looked at through a little bit of alchemy. And through that, I found that an emerald was necessary, and the largest one that I was able to find in any record was this one in New York at a museum. So, I'm hoping that it's still there, and I'm hoping that I could use it for my research.
And what museum and what emerald might that be?
There's a history museum. Trying to remember the exact name of it. Give me one moment. Do have it here somewhere. One. It's called the Patricia Emerald. It's one of the largest ones found before the tear.
And are they aware we're coming to pick it up? Or is this
I
more
have-
of a
They are aware. Yes, I talked with the museum curator, and he believes that the information potential to be gathered is worth the lending of the emerald to me. I have made a lot of statements and put a lot of money down to make sure that they know that it will be unharmed. And so when you do get it, I would be very happy if you would take care of it.
As long as you're not omitting some extra steps in our way.
I promise I'm being upfront about this. I had this planned for a year. I've been trying to get this taken care of. But now that Azuka's in a place where I feel that they are capable, and with you around them, I was thinking it would have been a good time to go, but now it feels that I must ask this burden befall to you.
Does it seem like he's being truthful? Can I sense motive him or something?
Go for it.
Should I just roll my perception for that?
Yep.
'Cause it's like the same roll.
I think
18.
Mintala doesn't check because he was just kind of poking fun, really.
Yeah. He looks like he's telling the truth. He is trying to be as upfront and honest. He didn't realize that the omission from earlier was something that he had done, and now he feels like he has to make up this ground of trust that he has since lost. So if anything, he's trying to be even more truthful and upfront about information because he feels bad for lying.
Well, I haven't been to a museum since I was in Chicago.
Funny enough, there's a stop there along the way. He starts walking to the back where Chuck does have a map of the United States. The original plan that I had was to drive out to Denver, as he points through. You're going to want to stay south of the Dead Crescent. Everything in that, you call it Nevada region, seems to have been a little bit of an issue. From Denver, there's a train that'll take you through Chicago, actually, so you might get to see some of your hometown, to Washington, D.C. That's going to be the tricky part. From there, you have to make your way to New York. and then back. I have same route.
Are you gonna make sure my parents are okay?
I promise you, they will be safe.
Speaking of, Chuck pulls out a keyring and tosses him a key. They can stay here.
Not the mansion in Santa Monica. You want them to be in a warehouse, safe house? Is there even a bed here? He
Not
looks around.
here. The key goes to my apartment, safe house.
Gotcha. I'll take care of it. Thank you for the offer. It's a very safe place, Azuka.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No. Honestly, no. I'm really not. A lot's happened today.
Do you want to talk, just me and you, upstairs?
Honestly, no. I think I just want to sleep.
Okay. Take the night. I'll see you all at Chuck's place in the morning.
Speaking of, he starts writing on a piece of paper and tears 3 pieces off with the address on it and hands them to everyone. Oh, by the way, there's a phone number at the bottom. Please call ahead. It's a whole hassle dealing with the security gate and everything, so any notice, aside from Cade, is preferred.
Yeah.
None of you have phones. It's very much a wealthy thing for people to have phones. So,
Kyoko nods. She'll find a way.
I don't have a phone.
I figured you would just head back with me. Honestly,
yeah.
Azuka.
Okay. Yeah.
okay. Then I'll leave you here. See you in the morning. Cade starts to walk out.
I don't know why he insists on leaving when we're all going to be leaving and saying bye before he's actually out the door. Weird thing. Makes for awkward conversation after the fact if you continue following in the same direction. Anyway, beside.
Are you guys all following him out?
Yeah.
Okay. As you go out to the warehouse, he's already gone.
Yeah, he does that.
Well, road trip. Sounds like fun.
I can drop you off wherever you want to be dropped off before meeting up at my place if you would like.
I'd like that.
Okay. So
Until thinks if there's any affairs to get in order at all.
it is up to you. Does anybody have anything that they would like to make sure that they get? Any last minute equipment that you can think of that you would want to make sure that you have or don't have, like on your character sheets? I'm kind of loose when it comes to things that people have. If you can rationalize to me how you have something, I don't think you need to, every time you go to a city, be like, I need this, 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 and this. But it's if you can rationalize it to me like, oh yeah, Kyoko would have made sure to have this type of crystal ball that does this thing to like go with this spell. Like that's basic stuff.
Yeah, obviously I'd have all my spell stuff, but
Exactly.
I think that possibly some health potions and maybe a medical kit of some sort or anything that I think could help heal or patch people up.
Okay.
Definitely in favor of some healing. Metallo's still injured as well. Like, not seriously, but there's still some chunks of like gravel that have just been left outside the diner.
When you rest, you
Yeah.
can heal up too.
Also, if Chuck had a first aid kit that really patched dirt back together, he would do that. He'd probably just end up throwing water on you and trying to stick it on.
Speaking of Chuck's medical kits, in the corner where there was that little medical station, you do find a healer's kit or a medical kit that you would be able to use to patch up people, as well as 2, we'll call them lesser healing potions.
Honestly, this is the first time are just going to be leaving the walls. So I think he has no clue what he's meant to bring anyway.
Hmm.
I think
Like going
honestly, the only
camping for the
thing,
first time.
yeah. So I think he's just kind of like letting everyone else do their thing and just hopes that they have enough for him when he needs it.
Here for
And
it.
I think the only the only thing he does have is probably like a, because I think the pen he uses isn't like a special pen, it's just like any old. I don't know what the actual name is. I call it clicker pens. So I think he has like a bunch, like a couple of those in his pockets because occasionally he does like break them. So he would at least pull out another one to click.
Don't worry, I can. Chuck can get you a nicer pen that won't break.
I mean, we'll see about that if it won't break, but he won't say no to a nicer pen.
I figure we'll RP at the tower, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because we're still in the warehouse. I was like, there's definitely stuff that's gonna happen at the tower.
Yeah, definitely. So we can accelerate through this. Kyoko was able to get the health potions that you were looking for, get the medical kit.
Yeah, she kind of closes up her shop, and I think that she actually has someone who will basically pack up her stuff and put it in one of those like storage garages.
Got it.
And she pays them to do that, and then will end her lease for the place, but she'll pay like the rest of that month.
Okay. We'll say that costs you 5 gold to do. And there is a nice older dwarven lady who actually owns the buildings that you are in. It's like, oh yes, lassie, I'll make sure to get all of your stuff. Nothing to worry about there. If you come back, please do come back. You're actually a wonderful tenant.
Well, we'll see where fate takes me. I hope I return, but sometimes a new place can be, well, its own adventure.
Please do. You're the only person who paid rent before the first of the month, and I really appreciated not having to hunt you down every time.
She nods.
Be safe.
I always try.
Okay. All right.
I think I do like grab some basic stuff, like probably like a shoulder bag where I extend the strap to the absolute limit of where it can go and put it over me, and then I imagine miscellaneous things like rope, a lighter for fires, and there's probably the bits and bobs I'll think of later, but like there'll be some general supplies in there.
As you, Kyoko, are walking away from the haunted stone, you actually do see Octavio on the opposite side of the street, walking arm in arm with his wife, just as a little proud moment to yourself.
And I think Kyoko just kind of smiles as she locks the door one last time.
As you do, and you see them laughing with each other, there is a flicker, and you see them walking further down, holding the hands of a child between them. They look a little bit older for half a second. And hey, you gave some good advice, and now there's new life in the world.
That makes her heart happy.
Mintel. You good to go?
I think so.
All right. Then you grab your things.
Not really. Like, I don't have a landlord, so it's just like I just cease to exist in that space for a while.
You just close the door and you're like, okay. Just scratching the
What
door.
happened?
Do not enter.
Where did my dollhouse apartment build end up? It got shrunk and put into a bag before. What
Cade
happened after
actually
that?
has it.
Okay, he
hadn't
can
had
keep hold of
time.
it if he wants.
Okay.
I can't really work on it on the road.
I mean, doing tiny miniatures while in a moving car on a bumpy road, it might be a little
it's
difficult.
awkward.
Couple dexterity checks. All right, so y'all make it
Go
back
over a
to
bump and just smash through the
just
entire
smash
thing.
right into it, destroying years of work. So y'all end up back at the penthouse. John.
Well, welcome to I guess, where I actually live as opposed to where a lot of people write about. This is the tower, as I call it. You'll follow me.
So you follow him actually into. Do you park in the underground or do you pull up and then take him into the front lobby?
In the front lobby.
So you go into this lobby and it looks like other people live here. You see names of other renters on the dials to be buzzed up. You see packages that are on the front that seem to be like necessary to deliver to other people. It's an entire front as you go up the elevator to, I'm assuming, the penthouse.
He's going on all the floors.
Okay.
Well, he's gonna skip floor 3.
Fair.
But
So showing off, takes you down to the underground garage where he stores all of his cars and does the routine maintenance. He skips the 3rd floor. He kind of shows you his workshop, his actual workshop where he has designs and sketches and schematics.
not to the workshop yet. We do the research next. He's actually
On
gonna
the
get off
second
on the
floor?
workshop. Yeah.
So the 2nd floor is one that has all the schematics where you see books and test tubes. You see piles of black powder and casings and little ways of manipulations. And if you you'll see a bullet tip that has a flared side that he has scribbled off to the side, like curve bullet, not really, can't do, not consistent. Like all of these different ideas trying to make like secondary explosion, black powder, secondary cartridge, like trying to maybe create like an exploding bullet of some kind, and then just like failure, almost lost hand, like all of these different designs gone through. From there, skips the 3rd floor, goes to the 4th floor where you see a lot more of actual, like a foundry station, things where actually things are built and made and maintained. You see scraps of metal. You see more piles of black powder next to a personal bullet press that he's able to go and make his own personal ammunition with. You see a door off in the back that you don't really know where it goes to, but Chuck would know that is the room that he has all of his investigative stuff in. Then going up to the final floor, which is the penthouse that sports a lovely 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a full kitchen, along with a workout room sporting all the latest equipment, sauna, and a large hot tub on the patio for your use. As you get up to the penthouse, there is also a butler who greets you. Welcome back, sir. It seems that yet again you have company. I dare say, may you be actually making friends. Dare say I'm
No,
proud
only
of you.
you. Only you. You're
I do
my
hope-
only friend.
I do hope that's not the case forever. Please, you need other friends.
I would say we're more colleagues than friends at this point. Not
You
to
know
say
what,
that
madam,
won't
at
be-
this point, I'll take it.
I see.
Is there anything that I may be able to get for any of you? Prepare for this evening?
I mean, simply they can choose their own bedrooms. I don't care which one they take, even if it's the one I usually sleep in.
How very generous of you, sir.
As long as it's not the dirt ball.
Right. Everybody's free to roam as they please, except for one
No.
specific person.
He
You
can't.
must stand in the corner to not make any mess.
Percy.
Yes, I'm just telling him the fair rules that you have given him.
Mental
He can't
smiling.
have that bedroom.
Right. There is a guest bedroom that I will be making sure is rock ready.
Yeah,
Appreciated.
the reinforced bed, if you catch my drift.
Yes, I'll make sure it is dry cleaned. And the sheets redone. And the bed frame put back together.
I feel like I learned way too much about you in these past few seconds, and I walked back into the elevator.
I was gonna go in the elevator. You're supposed to stay. I suppose you could come with me back to the workshop, but I figured all of you could relax. I've got stuff to do until the morning.
In the absence of Mr. Spadina, I will be able to take care of any need that you might have. We did just get a wonderful new lemonade recipe.
I'll try some lemonade.
Fantastic.
Oh, Zuka, you could possibly teach him the French toast recipe as well, if you'd like. Percy's very receptive of his criticisms and the fact that he can't cook worth a damn.
To anyone other than him, I have quite a lovely set of skills, but to his palate, apparently everything I make is drab and bland. Hopefully you can teach me something.
He's
I
really
feel
an
like I have
excellent
to-
cook, but I can't tell him that. He's whispering to Kyoko.
He believes ego is the downfall of any good servant. Right, sir?
There can only be one me.
Fair.
I feel
Now
like I'm
then,
gonna
the
be
French
witnessing
toast. You had an
this.
idea. And he kind of like takes you
Yes.
by the shoulder and walks you into the kitchen.
Sure.
As they're heading out,
I'll-
I never did get mine to go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can make everyone French toast, I guess, and I can teach you. Percy?
Wonderful.
Your name's Percy, right?
Very correct, sir. May I get your name?
Azuka.
Fantastic.
You can call him Zuzu. He loves it.
You cannot.
Okay, Zeus, I will never call you
No.
that again.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And you, miss, may I make anything for you?
Kyoko, and I'm fine. I'll make myself at home, I suppose. I have some meditating to do. I think that perhaps I might be able to see if there's anything going to come in our way.
You do, when you look at the kitchen, have a flash of Azuka being nervous, putting a little bit too much butter in a fire happening. And you
maybe
think you
lay
might
off
want to.
on the butter, Azuka.
And in your mind, you've been debating, like, is it 2 cuts? Is it 1? Is it half?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Was something going to happen if I didn't? Or just like a general, like,
It's best you probably
advice.
don't know.
okay. Cool. Okay. And I'll
What a
walk
way to live.
into the kitchen. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's more nerve-wracking knowing something can happen.
You also feel that you really want to push the chairs next to you closer together.
Kyoko kind of just walks over to the chairs and moves them.
All right, redesigning the furniture. Of course, make yourself at home.
She smiles and just says, I think you'll appreciate it.
Kyoko, by the way, if you want to get some meditation in, there is a sauna and a hot tub. I find them both to be very soothing.
Yes, I can have that prepped and ready within half an hour, if that would be to your liking.
Of course you do. And that would be lovely. Thank you.
Fantastic. Azuka, then I feel that our introduction and teaching moment must happen later. I will have to attend to my duties.
Yeah, no, please. I'm just gonna grab something in the fridge and eat.
Oh, feel free to use the kitchen and to your liking. Everything you need will be here.
Awesome. So Mintala, I guess I'm not gonna use as much butter as I planned as I walk into the kitchen.
And as you go to respond to him, you sit down in a chair behind you that creaks, and then you settle to the one next to it. And in that, you saved Mintala from an awkward moment of crashing through a chair, and because you put the other one next to it, actually was reinforced enough to not shatter.
One chair per butt.
Exactly.
Butt
Oh,
cheek.
gee.
No, per
two-
butt. He's
just two
got
solid
two
bricks.
full butts.
4 cheeks.
Mintala, thick times 2.
It's got a very textured surface. There could be multiple crevices.
Honestly, yeah, that's
Do you have cinder block cheeks? Is that how it works?
Tell us the
Sure.
structure of your buttocks, please.
The people
I
need to
hadn't
know.
considered this,
The details.
but sure. Man, he, like sits
Fantastic.
down and there's a moment where he's like, huh, then like settles.
Yeah, you always have that worry of breaking furniture everywhere you go, and you're like, yeah.
Bracing at all times.
Mhm.
Whenever, like anytime sitting on anything, standing on anything, walking anywhere.
Doing anything. So we will pan to Chuck going down the elevator. Tell us what you do.
Once he's in the elevator and the door's shut as he's going down, there's just a deep sigh of relief. and there's just kind of like a somber look on his face until he gets to the workshop. Upon exiting the workshop, he's very diligent. He walks all around the shop, grabbing this piece. What is that? Grabbing this smaller piece, grabbing all these different parts and knickknacks. And he walks over to lays down a work mat and starts putting the pieces together. Gold, silver, black, steel, all different parts until it forms. Wait, is that a pistol? That looks way too fancy. And another one? One gold and silver, one steel and black. One on the side of it reads bullet, and the other says ammo. It's very practiced. His hands are very practiced at this.
Almost moving without thinking.
Yeah. And as the parts come together, pulls one back, sees in the chamber, pulls the trigger, sets it back, lays it down, and says, "Well, we meet again. At least you're still whole. At least now." He walks to the closet, pulls off a hat, pulls off a wardrobe case in that closet in the investigative room. Shuts that door, locks it. Grabs a go bag that's underneath one of the tables. Puts the weapons inside and goes down to the garage where the car has been moved by the receptionist and the valet, and throws them in the trunk. Then goes and changes the tires to no longer be white-walled road tires to now being raising the suspension a bit, adjusting to being all-terrain tires. Thicker. They're heavy. Chuck strains to lift them and put them onto the car and just goes about it. Very practiced again. Almost expressionless before heading back up to the penthouse.
To be fair, most things are heavy for Chuck. He's a very dexterous person, but the man was not gifted muscle-wise. Okay. You guys have been having your conversations. The French toast is very professionally made. Your mother's taught you well, and Greggles was always happy with the way your food came out.
Here you go, and I set it in front of Mentala. I think I have a batch prepared for Kyoko, but I know Kyoko is meditating at the moment, so I have that to the side waiting. Yeah, it's honestly, I did pretty okay. Not as good as my parents. My mum's is way better. But at the very least, it's edible. I slide it over to Mentala.
Thank you. Looks delicious. Do I eat?
Zuka's just sitting there waiting, watching you, just to see your reaction.
So we're going to say, earlier on in your life, when you'd been created, you were kind of like, where did I come from? And you kind of mimicked the things around you. So you mimicked humans, you mimicked them eating. You're like, okay, is this what I do? And you fully bite through a glass mug. You're chewing the glass and you're just like, roar. And everyone's like, oh God. So you have learned that it does put people at ease when they see other people or other humanoid things acting as if they are alive and human. You specifically do not need to eat. You can. I mean,
okay, and it won't gum up the works. It won't cause
No.
serious problem. Okay.
I
In
mean,
that
there's
case,
probably some gum up in there inside you. You're a construction site. There's probably a cigarette butt somewhere. You are this thing held together by magic and will. And so what you are composed of really doesn't have a lot of inner workings. It's the magic tethers that really hold things together.
Okay, then I think he does grab, I mentioned it's 2 slices, he grabs one of the slices and just in a single bite.
Oh.
and,
Uh,
and chews. Mm.
And like one of the prongs of the fork doesn't come out as well.
I mean, I probably probably low in iron, so I guess I get why you would want to add a bit more to it. As I like point at the missing prong of the fork.
Just puts that back, looks around.
It's not my fork. I don't care.
You actually
I mean,
see like a bit of the silver that was this cutlery actually like appear in one of the scratches that he had from earlier, seeming his body's replacing the bits with something that he has had.
I mean, you are what you eat, quite literally, apparently.
He's got a little French toast heart now.
Perfect. It's in there
Do you want
somewhere.
Do you want any more? I could probably whip up some more.
Wouldn't want to waste your time. It was very nice, though. He has left one slice on the plate, though. It's just set in front of him, and he's ignoring it.
You definitely notice Ozzy kind of like just subtly looking down at it, and then looking back up at you, like, "Are you gonna eat it? Was it that bad?"
Oh, I'm saving it.
We're going to shift away from this awkwardness as we go over to Kyoko. Are you in the sauna, in the hot tub? What are you doing? Where do you meditate?
She'll go in the hot tub, and she probably has never been in a hot tub ever. I don't think there's hot tubs where she comes from. I guess there's like springs, right?
There
Like
would be
hot
natural springs, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting experience. But basically, I would like to use like the meditation time to be where she does her lucky numbers every day.
Okay.
So basically, how this works is when I cast the spell, I roll 1d20 and make a note of the result, and I can use that as a reaction in the future.
I love
like
that.
Change fate type of thing.
As you divinate into the future, you get into this meditative trance as sounds and visualizations fade away. You smell the fuel of the car. You feel the bumps of the road. You hear these random sounds. You hear these thumping sounds. You hear a loud crash. You hear conversation. You hear these laughter of specifically Azuka and Mintala. You hear chains, rattling chains, and you see a gas station. Just flash. And we'll say that's your intuition into the next day.
All right. And then, do I roll my number now?
I would say so.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because then you can choose later on if you want to use it for anything.
You're also
15.
incredibly relaxed by this wonderful hot tub that has beautiful like jets that just go down your spine. It's like a nice little massage, and you're able to really relax. And it does remind you, when you close your eyes, you can almost smell home. The breeze reminding you of summer days.
Yeah. She's like the smell of the harbor and the sea.
Mhm.
She loves it. A 15's not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's better than anything you guys have been rolling tonight. So, anything else you guys would like to do before the end of the night?
Chuck gets back to the penthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Azuka.
Yeah.
What's up?
You say Kyoko's the only one you've known. at least been around?
Out of everyone here at the moment, yes. Cade, I know. Actually, no. I've been kind of his apprentice, protege, errand boy. I don't know how you want to refer to it. He's my mentor.
But you have heard of me. You have read about me. You have heard the stories.
Mostly through my mum's. I've never really been much of a news kind of person. I've never really personally been interested, but I absorbed some stuff from my parents reading the newspaper.
You know, those are always only surface level stories. The stories that people tell about me, the things that they say. I was a screw up growing up. It led to my parents getting involved in something and led to their death.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the past. But the point is, the person who raised me, the person who I looked up to the most, they're the one I think of when I think of parents. So your parents are who you choose them to be. And I hope you know that. Those that made you what you are, abandon you, however that is, that's not what defines you. What defines you is what you choose to do and the people that you choose to have in your life. And the actions you choose to take speak more volumes than any words anyone can say.
Azu looks at you, and I think they've been kind of tense this whole time, even with like the jokes that they're kind of busting now. They seem still a bit on edge. Like they're still kind of, at the very least, going on in the background is some kind of inner thoughts, inner looking within happening and going on since the news, the information that Cade gave. But I think even for a moment, I think that kind of dissipates, that disappears, and he gives Chuck a little smile and just goes, thank you. Yeah, I think I needed to hear that.
Chuck will just kind of put his hand on your shoulder and then walk away. And as he walks away, he'll look over his shoulder and he'll just say, I'm still going to tease you and call you Zuzu from time to time.
Please don't. I really don't like that name. I don't know why people are trying to make it a thing. And he will mumble in annoyance, but not actual annoyance, as he goes back to the room that he had picked.
So, Kyoko, as you are meditating and all these visions fade, the sound of Percy's voice echoes you back to reality. Madam, is there anything else that you may be requiring?
No, I'm all right. Thank you very much, though.
You are very welcome. I did get the extra shampoo you required for your tails.
I don't think I require extra shampoo, but I appreciate that.
I just assumed it's a lot of... You know what? That's on me. Probably should have asked first. I'm going to leave now. And he just walks away. Yes.
How long have you known Chuck?
I have known Mr. Spadina for many years. And despite his rough exterior and his jokes, I do find a very upstanding man there. I am proud to be aiding him.
I only know what they say about him.
He's quite an extraordinary man. He's done
Must
many
be
extraordinary
hard being
things.
in the spotlight.
It hits everybody differently. Some enjoy it, some feel called to it, some deal with it by necessity. We've met all kinds over the years.
I'm certain you have. Well, is there anything I should know? I'm going to be spending a lot of time with him.
Don't take his jokes to heart. He doesn't mean them. He likes to think that he is funny. And from time to time, he can be. He's a little out of touch from time to time, but other than that, at the core, I believe him to be a good person. Watch out for him. For me, if you don't mind. I would very much like to see him return.
I'll do my best.
And you see a little bit of worry and like a little bit of tears, just like, it's very dangerous out there.
It can be. I assure you there's some laughter in his future as well.
Oh, I hope so. He needs that.
Well, don't we all?
Yes, we do.
There's a knock on Mentala's door.
Intolerable answer.
Hey, Rocky Road. I know you got a bit beat up back there. Is there, do you need any sand? Do you need dirt? I don't know how you heal, but...
I'll regenerate it naturally through a good night's sleep.
Oh. Cool. Glad I don't have to lug up that giant thing of concrete or anything.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
fine. Appreciate you checking.
Yeah. Sleep well. If you need anything, I'll be on the couch. Also, I'm sure Percy will be around somewhere.
Thank you. I think that as he steps out of the door and closes it, you see that like on the bedside table in the guest room is a plate of very cold French toast, but there is one bite taken out of the remaining slice.
I just love the idea of giant Mentala holding this plate of French toast, walking through the hallways, like accidentally maybe bumping into like a painting of some kind, getting to the room.
You know,
As he's carrying it, it's making horrible screeching noises as like of stone.
Oh, yeah.
The horrible screeching noises of like stone and glass trying to hold a plate.
Yep. Wonderful.
I don't like that sound.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Anything else before the end of the night?
Just that Chuck's gonna be on the couch.
Sounds good. Azuka?
No. I honestly, the only thing is I know he'll wake up very early, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you go to sleep, Azuka, you are taken to that white space. And you know that feeling of when you are about to fall asleep, but then you have a falling dream and you're just suddenly like about to fall asleep. Oh, I'm awake again. It's that, but when you open your eyes, you're back in that negative space. You hear a piano again from down the hall. It's just, don't you worry, child. See, heaven's got a plan for you. Don't you worry now. Yeah. And you fall asleep. And you're back. And you wake up in the morning. It's like you blink your eyes and it's morning, as if sleep never came.
Just lay in bed for a while, let out a long sigh. And I think just out of habit, there's like an exercise room in this penthouse, right? I think I remember you mentioned that.
Yep.
I like wake up nice and early, probably like 5 or 6 a.m.
The sun is just starting to crest over the horizon. You are the first person awake.
And I go straight into the exercise room and just start doing anything and everything I can to work my body.
He says exercise room, but there's a full boxing ring. There are punching bags. There's speed bags. There's treadmills, weights. There's everything you can think of that you'd find at like a Gold's Gym, but it's inside of this. And it's like the size of 2 bedrooms. And you think to yourself, like, how big is this penthouse?
This shit is bigger than the ring we fought in. Holy crap, okay. I'm definitely going to be doing like kicks and punches against one of like the punching bags or something like that for the most part, but definitely getting on the treadmill as well. Yeah, there's just he has all this energy now and not all of it good, to be honest, so he's trying to get it all out.
As you're going through the motions, going through the meditation, punching, doing everything, you just hear a voice. All right, those binds suck. Please don't do that again. Those little hand wraps that Cade put on you.
I think I can speak to them mentally, right?
Yeah.
I can respond mentally. So mentally, I think all you hear like is the grunts of me punching and kicking this bag. But mentally, I respond with, quite frankly, I'm glad that it still worked with whatever the hell you did to me.
I did nothing. You're the one who drew on anger. You asked for the power and I gave.
Yes, and I nearly hurt Cade because of it, so I'm grateful for these reps.
Well, is it your fault or is it his fault for lying to you? Withholding information from you? I mean, I feel the anger was justified.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of shitty to not tell me the truth about that. Like, it could have been helpful. I don't even know if my parents know. I feel like that would be something they should be told about. Do they know? Did they know?
Beats me. Maybe that's another question for Cade. Or for your mothers. Your choice.
I guess it depends. I'll ask Cade first. I'm going to be seeing him in a bit anyway. I think at this point I've kind of like stopped like sparring and just kind of like standing there.
As you're just kind of standing there, Percy knocks on the open doorway. She goes, "Sir, you seem to be up pretty early. Is there anything that I might be able to get you for breakfast?"
Nothing really. No, not now. I would love a glass of water.
Fantastic. I shall bring you some momentarily. He leaves. About a minute, comes back with a full pitcher of water, places it down, and it's just, nobody else seems to be awake at the moment, so if you need anything, I will be doing laundry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Patsy.
Of course. As you guys wake up in your own time, Chuck, you do wake up to Percy over being like, what is the point of having a penthouse with 6 bedrooms if you constantly sleep on the couch?
Well, they wouldn't be looking on the couch for somebody like me.
It's literally the first room they come into off the elevator.
Exactly.
You're right. They would most definitely overlook the large lump under the blankets on the couch before going to scour the remaining bedrooms. How could I be so foolish? As he walks away.
Chuck's planning for a SWAT team smashing through the windows.
Going right over him. Beautiful.
He mutters to himself, "It's so I wake up."
Okay, sir. You do get a ring on the telephone.
Don't worry, Percy, I got it.
Thank you, sir.
Hello?
I'm here.
Just come on up.
You turn around, he's already on the couch. So, How are we faring? Are we ready for the adventure ahead? You know, I thought about this a lot last night, and I'm actually very excited to see how Azuka will evolve over this trial. I mean, it's such a step forward for them. And you can see he's actually been maybe ruminating. He has some bags under his eyes. It doesn't look like he slept.
Chuck kind of stares and just blinks at him.
Yes. I hope you don't mind. I got here early. I added some modifications to your car. It should be able to give you directions leaning towards my itinerary. So, you know, left or right or straight. It's going to be bumpy out there. You never know where.
What if I choose not to follow your itinerary?
That is...
Something blocks the road.
Then that's up to you. If you must deviate, I have it programmed in that it will find the nearest way back to the road.
Will it
although
be annoying?
Potentially. I could only use maps that I had found previous to the tear, because that was the only thing that had developed any sort of written record of highways and roads. So it's a bit dated, but the information may seem valuable.
As long as the radio still works, we're fine.
I mean, it's if you find yourself within space of a place that is using a radio, yes. So, I should have thought of songs. That's on me. Maybe I can find some old cassettes. And he starts thinking in his head. He reaches into a bag and he pulls out a couple cassette tapes and he's like, I can give you some for the road if you'd like.
Sure.
Fantastic. So he takes an assortment of cassette tapes and gives them to you. I'll let you decide what those are in the moment for any sort of roleplay scenario for music. Everybody wakes up in their own time. A breakfast is had. Anything special for the morning before packing up and heading out?
Chuck would probably be in the workshop and the research lab going between the two.
Okay. You guys see a lot of the elevator indicators going up and down and up and down and up and down.
I probably come out after finishing my morning exercise after a shower,
Mm-hmm.
and I walk in. I see my Cade.
Azuka, good to see you.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you too. Where'd Chuck go?
Oh, he's just gathering the last of his things before heading out.
Okay, cool. I'll be honest, and I sit down on the couch. I did not sleep great last night.
I did not sleep at all. So I'm with you there. I'm pathetic to your plight.
No, I was actually going to ask what you're wearing, because you definitely got some bags going on. Are they designer?
Yes, actually I made them myself. Takes a lot of willpower to develop this. Fight the sleep. Look, I am away from everybody. I do want to apologize for everything. I'm sorry I didn't tell them. I'm sorry I didn't tell your parents about everything that I had found connected to you. I think
So they didn't know either.
they knew you were different, obviously.
Yeah.
I told them what I thought they needed to know to avoid worry, if anything. Maybe that was judgmental of me to think that they wouldn't care for you,
I will be honest, I am mad at you. I think at the very least they should have known what they were getting into with having me around.
Right, and you have every right to be.
But I also get that you thought it was the right thing to do. So.
I knew that if I had kept you in an environment that nurtured you in a positive way to develop you towards a good human, a good person, maybe that would have been beneficial for this entire scenario. Loving parents.
I think I gave my parents more than enough reason not to love me, and they still have. So I think you were wrong in thinking that not telling them would change anything.
You're right. I should have given them more credit. They are incredible parents.
How are they, by the way? Are they okay?
Shaken up, but they are doing okay. They are settling into the apartment quite nicely. Greggles has decided to stay there as, I guess, a personal chef. That apartment safe house had 4 rooms. Like, that is... Jesus, this man.
Oh, God, okay. What? I mean, I guess, he was involved in, like, world wars? I guess that pays well?
You'd be correct. The man is connected, to say the least. So.
That reminds me, I need to tell the others about this, and I like point at the arm reps.
I do
just
think.
In case.
I think after yesterday they might be aware, but giving them a little bit more detail.
Yeah, at
That'd
the
be
very
good.
least on how to use it.
Yeah. Maybe we can save that for the road.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect.
You hear a toilet flush,
Does he even...
and then after a few moments, you hear some running water, and then like a minute later, Mentala shuffles out of the bathroom. Oh, morning.
Morning. I'm gonna be honest, that was unexpected, but okay. As you walk out, you do realize that part of the reinforced frame had actually been stripped off of the bed to fill in part of the scratch from the other day because it was steel and like construction equipment. You almost, your natural form pulling in from the elements around you had actually stripped that reinforced bedpost, molded it to the side of the body. So now you look like you almost have this iron rib cage around 1/4 side of your left.
Nice.
So, like the new look.
Gosh darn it.
Mm. Tough. Dunk dunk.
Okay. Well then, you hear Percy down the hall. Well, sir, we might have to order another one.
I think we're still waiting on Chuck and Kyoko. I think Chuck is just kind of going up and down, and like pointing at the elevator. You can just see, like, it just recently went up, and now it's going back down to the next floor. No, I think he's just getting some stuff, right? The last of his belongings.
Perfect.
Kyoko will arrive perfectly on time as Chuck comes back. And she'll have
Coming
like,
from floor 0, Chuck's
her
elevator
jacket
comes all the way up. Yeah.
and like a big bag that has all of her stuff in it.
Perfect. Well then, looks like this is everything. Shall we go get it all packed up?
Oh, I took the liberty of packing almost everybody's things except for their own.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I also did take the liberty of putting food and water and everything in the trunk, so you'll be covered for supplies.
Oh, that's what I had to move out of the way when I was adjusting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I probably should have asked.
No, it's fine. It just was in. It's fine.
Yes.
Well, shall we find ourselves an emerald?
Let's get you
Yeah.
on the way.
Road trip.
So you guys go down the elevator in the appropriate number of trips that it would take considering Mentala's size. Go down, pack the last of your things into the trunk of the Duesenberg Model J. And you say your last goodbyes to LA as you start to drive through the city towards the wall. Stop, as Mentala knows, as the guards come and check, ask what's going on. Cade tells them they're going out. They know Cade, so there's no real issue there. And with the time, we'll say that as the gates open, the camera will pull back and watch the car drive out beyond the gates, and we fade off into the clouds.
All right. And with that, we end episode 2 of Valtorn. Woo! Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you have enjoyed the show. But before we head out, we will just talk, say a couple things, and we'll let everybody know where you can find these lovely folks at, because not only are they amazing here, but they also do lots of other things. So first and foremost, we would like to mention that we do have some merch. If you want to check it out, head on over to designbyhumans.com/shop/roll4 and check out our merchandise. You can get yourself a mug, a shirt, a cozy sweater, whatever your needs be. And then also we would like to take a little extended thank you to our supporter today, Finley Shards. Thank you so much, Finley, for supporting us. We always appreciate your support. And if you would like to become a supporter like Finley, you can head on over to our Patreon, where you can check out all of our goodies. And if you're a legend tier or above, you get to support an episode as well as play in a privately GM'd game. The next one's coming up will possibly maybe affect the game. Kai Bear will be DMing for those, so definitely get ready for that. And of course, we do have some stuff coming up as well. We have the stats of the Bone Devil Mafia and Chuck's Estate coming up. So if you want to check those things out, those will be available to GM tier and the party tier for the other one. And also, we are going to be doing our first live monthly recap over on Patreon for Hero Tier and above, happening on Tuesday at 7:30 Pacific, or 7:30 a.m. Pacific. So we hope that you come check that out if you're a patron that's Hero Tier or above, and chat with us while we do our recap live. And of course, there's lots of other goodies over on our Patreon, and we hope that you enjoy those. But whether you want to support us there, there's also Twitch subscriptions that you can support. And if you are coming in a little later here, Twitch sub is handy because you can watch the VOD right away. And you get also access to some of our sweet emotes. And if you're a YouTube member, you get access to some of those emotes as well. And whether you're a YouTube member, Twitch subscriber, or a Patreon supporter, you get access to our private Discord where we talk about all the things. And I'm certain there's going to be thoughts after lots of Azuka reveals today, and potentially some interesting things if you thought closely about what was going on with Mentala. And I know that a lot of people are liking what's going on with Chuck. So we got to see a lot of Chuck's lifestyle. And of course, if you can't support us monetarily, there's lots of free ways to support us. We hope that many of you are doing lots of clipping, but you can follow us right here on Twitch and watch us live, as well as watching on YouTube, subscribing, liking, commenting, heading on over to our Twitter and Facebook and interacting with us over there. All of those things help us and make the algorithms find us, which is super duper handy. And of course, we want to extend a little thank you to our sponsor, Roll20. If you've been curious how we do our rolls and all of that jazz, it is through Roll20. And with that, we'll go around and you'll get to see where you can find all these lovely folks at. We're going to start over up in the corner with our Drac. Where can people find you at when you are not finding out that your parents are occultists and they've left you because they thought you were just like a failed experiment?
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack, really. I am Drac, or Draconics. You can find me on Twitter at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQUES. I'm in a bunch of different campaigns. The ones I will shout out is that on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, actually, usually at 3 p.m. before the finale, which is happening this Saturday, is 2 p.m. Eastern, in a campaign called Higher Education. It's our Strixhaven D&D campaign over on Vanish channel, that's VANA on Twitch, where we are going to be having a ball, an Ascension ball. And obviously, in any D&D game, when there's a ball, everything goes perfectly and nothing goes wrong. So if you want to see that happen as our finale, our season finale, check that out on Saturday. On Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern over on Table Story, that's TABLESTORY. I'm in another campaign called Kingmakers. It's very cerebral, very dark, grim, and weird. It started off as a fantasy game, and it still is a fantasy game, but our characters walked through a door and ended up in New York City, modern day New York City. So we're acclimatized and trying
Yeah.
to figure out what's going on.
There's some
Yeah, it's weird.
overlap. We're headed to New York here too.
Yeah.
So if you want to check that out, it's good. It's been fun. It's been very weird. It's been fun having characters who are like bows and arrows be like, what is a Google? What is happening here? So that's been a lot of fun. But other than that, follow me on Twitter. I have a bunch of our projects and works in the works that I cannot talk about yet. But when I can, Twitter will be the first place to find out. But that's me.
Perfect. Next up, we have Bentham Plays, who plays our lovely Mentalis. Where can people find you at when you are not becoming what you eat?
I'm always becoming what I eat. But you can find me on YouTube and on Twitch, where for reasons that are complicated-ish, I go by Mangled Pork and Mangled Pork Gaming. And you can find me maybe doing Let's Plays, maybe doing lore videos, who really knows? Kerbal Space Program 2 releases in early access tomorrow. I should probably try and find time to stream that. We'll see. And other than that, you usually don't see me role-playing outside of on Roll For It, but there might be something coming up soon. I'm not going to tell you what it is, and also it isn't soon, really, but there's something in the works. We'll get there eventually. It's a slow process of production, but there'll be me in other places for once. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And we've got Chuck Spadina, played by Tyler, aka Apocalypto. Where can people find you at when you are not sleeping on your couch while you let everyone else sleep in all of your other rooms and all of your other houses?
You can find me probably sleeping on my couch at my actual place because I
didn't
do
want to
that
say it.
way too often. But you can find me over on my podcast called Go My Favorite Sports Team. You can search GMFST if you would like, but it posts every Thursday. So we do this show on Thursday. My episode posts technically at like 10 something p.m. Wednesday night, but the episode that just came out today is the Luge Primer, where I teach Mark everything about luge. Outside of that, you can find me on social media as apocalypto_12 or just search Tyler Scheid. TYLERSCHEID.
You mean like a luge, like the ice luges?
Yes, the sport of luging.
Okay.
Or
That's
luge
the sport where-
tobogganing.
That's the sport where everyone just one time goes on that weird YouTube rabbit hole of times when something fell onto the track and got run over, like a fan or a broom. They keep coming up on YouTube. Like once a year, it's like, hey, remember when you went on a weird luge kick? We're gonna send you there again.
Well, there's a lot of funny history about luge, including hitting pedestrians, but that's a whole different story. You have to listen to the podcast to find out about that.
And of course, last but not least, we have our game master, Kai Bear. Where can people find you at when you are, not breaking people's hearts by lying?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a voice actor and I do audiobooks. You can find me on all of the major social media sites that start with T, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, all that fun stuff at Kai Bear. Yeah.
All right. And of course, I'm Margaret Crone. You can find me at Margaret Crone in all of the places. I always let you know whenever I'm doing things. I will be at PAX and Gen Con this year, so hopefully I get to see some people in person. And of course, I make games and video games for a living. I'm currently working on a project called Ashes of Creation, which you can check out at Ashes of Creation in all of the places. And with that, we are going to go record an after show, which I'm sure there's going to be lots of thoughts in that. And we will see you all next week for another lovely episode of Valtor. Toodles.